Episode 148, 148.
148, 148, ECW, 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 ECW.
And the air horn for extra effect. Anyways, welcome to episode 148.
We don't have a custom. We don't have custom stuff yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We'll
It's
get
coming.
there though. But yes,
Extreme
And we've got a new one. And we'd have a new one to add. We'd have a new sound effect. Get a life, kid.
I still can't get over that. But anyways, welcome to episode 148 of the Shadow Kvlt podcast, as the gang's all here, and I hear myself in the background.
I hear some echoing.
Echo.
Pinch hitting for Pedro Morbon, Manny Mota.
www.
Clean up on aisle 5.
Attention, restaurant customers. Testicles.
That is all.
Oh,
We have a blue light special in the jockstrap department.
What is the topic again?
Price check! Clean up
Hey,
aisle
hey.
6! Rotted body landslide!
What would Extreme Championship Wrestling in Spanish be?
ooh. Campeon,
Extremo Championship Wrestling.
That's racist, man. Get the fuck out of here.
You're fired. Get
lucha,
out.
lucha extrema del campeonato extrema. No, wait. Extremo championship.
Hey, we're on the
Lucha-
Extremo part.
Lucha extrema campeonato or extrema campeonato lucha, depending on how you
That's
want to do it.
Extrema, not Extremo. What you said was completely racist, boss.
Hey, a leopard never changes his spots.
What the hell has that got to do with anything?
I'm a ginger.
And that does not.
Oh, James left.
And now he's back.
I'm out of here. Get a life, kid.
I don't have
We need to add that to that when we can.
If you
Get a
remind
life,
me after the
kid.
show, and I'll get that clip.
Stick with the program, kid.
Start adding them all. Adding them all.
Thanks, Brock. We love you.
Yep.
But
Anyway.
so we got a
The
double
topic.
topic tonight. First, we are doing a discussion about ECW. Talking
Eastern
about
Championship Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen.
NWA Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Tri-State Wrestling Alliance.
Yes. Joe Goodhart.
Philadelphia scene.
Excuse me, I'm very sweaty.
hot.
It's fucking humid here, man. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm being sweaty right now.
We went from 50 degrees to 80 today. What the
We're gonna be here. We're gonna be in the 90s next week, and it's
Yeah, we're
fucking
gonna be damn close too.
this-
High 80s this week. Mid to high 80s.
You're getting
But
me in
anyways,
the
so
high
with-
80s, man.
110 degrees right
Speaking
here.
of
The
high
middle of
80s, never
Texas.
talk about ECW.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Why?
So pretty much the preface of this episode is talking about with ECW's past and the legacy, but most importantly, to answer the question, was ECW a blessing or a curse to pro wrestling? Given with how the fan base is today, kind of does stem from the fan base of ECW a little bit. So we're here to answer all of those questions. But I think the person that should be leading this should be the diehard right next to me, Scott, since, you know...
Is that code for old? Are you trying to call him an old man?
I'm not denying it.
Are you trying to start shit with me, James? Between Scott and I?
You want to?
Is that what you're doing?
He's the
stop.
wise man.
No.
Respect the wise man here.
Anyway.
So, Scott.
Anyway, so.
ECW. Starting in 1993, it is, yes, as James alluded to, the Tri-State Wrestling Alliance was a local promotion at a Jersey, Philadelphia, New York area, the Tri-State area, and would put on these monthly shows. And from that spawned a creation of a new promotion under the guise of Todd Gordon called Eastern Championship Wrestling, which eventually became an NWA affiliate. They had TV on Sports Channel back in the day when that was a thing. And Paul E gets involved. You know, I'm not going to go in the whole history here. We'll be here forever. But eventually it morphs into what becomes ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling. The infamous promo that Shane Douglas cuts after winning the NWA title in the tournament. They can all kiss my ass. Yeah. That's the launching point for ECW. It became the mission statement for the company, and they just followed that along the way. And it becomes this underground sensation, and wrestling fans like myself, who grew up in the 80s, we were children of the rock and wrestling era, started to see what was happening in the business in the early 90s, and we're like, both WWF and WCW were presenting kid-friendly shit, and we had grown out of that. Now they were trying to go towards a younger demographic again, much like, you know, when I was a kid watching Hulk Hogan, Junkyard Dog, Randy Savage, Big John Studd, Andre. Probably fans who grew up in the 70s were probably like, what the hell is this rock and roll garbage? Get that out of here. Get that off my TV. So it just changes with every generation. But we were sick and tired of the cartoony bullshit. Here comes ECW with like, we don't like it either, guys. So we're going to give you something different. And any way you could get a hold of it, any tape trading you could do. Luckily, we had a friend of ours who had the Sunshine Network really late at night on his cable system, taped it, would bring it over to a friend's house, we'd watch it, get the underground, you know, copies of the Observer and the Lariat. And, you know, before the internet, we had the actual news, the letters and the magazines and stuff like that. So that was all starting to build up this underground sensation of ECW to where you had the big boys saying, what's this? What's this thing down here? People are starting to like that. What can we take from them? And start pulling this and pulling this.
Everything.
Ooh, I like that piece of talent. Let's take him. Ooh, who's this guy? Get him. Ooh, what's that move called? Ooh, they're using tables like that. There's a chair in the ring.
He's drinking what?
Is he doing anything? He's just there to count to three. Ooh, what a concept. All these things start to morph into mainstream wrestling, and we get DX, and we get the NWO, and we get hardcore.
The Attitude Era. The Attitude Era
in general. So it all comes from the influence of ECW. That's on the good side of things, as Levi was leading to in the beginning here. But also, at the same time, as you're getting this swell of underground, you know, buzz going, you're also getting the idea that, well, hell, that guy's got no build. That guy's balding and fat and wears balding and fat. I could be a wrestler too. So anybody who thought they could just get in the ring and bump around, or maybe on a trampoline, Hardy Boys, just started thinking that they could be pro wrestlers. And there was and this is told in the Beyond the Mat extras, I believe. Tommy Dreamer was getting videotapes from guys who were wrestlers in the business, or guys who were just whack jobs, who were like killing furland animals on camera, and sending that to Tommy to be an audition tape to come to ECW. So, you know, it starts to bring that aspect into the business. And then the backyard wrestling thing starts to become even more underground deal, because guess what? We all wrestled in the backyard, but not to the level that we started seeing a lot of these other guys.
The barbed wire and the glass and the light tubes, and then the rip-off promotions.
Mm-hmm. And to where it's like, remember the backyard wrestling DVDs that were out there, you know, and all this. What was it? Wasn't there a video game like Ice?
Yeah, there were two of them.
The two of them. Okay. You know, like the backyard wrestling games on there, like ICP is on them.
Yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
Yes, legit. So I'm saying, whoop whoop. So so that also comes from that ECW extreme influence. So it's that double-edged sword. You have the jumping off point for Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, Rob Van Dam, the Dudley Boys, Taz, Tommy Dreamer, Then you also have the Rottens and, you know,
New
Jack, Gangsters,
the
Blood,
Crucifixion Angle,
Vic Grimes.
Yeah, just a lot of craziness, a lot of nutty shit, fun stuff too. I mean, let's not deny the awesomeness that was Mikey Whipwreck training for the ladder match with Johnny Grunge.
I saw that video last night. just watching random shit. It's like, that was great.
One of the best fucking promos. Brian Pillman wrestling with the pencil.
Steve Austin Monday NyQuil with
Monday
Bongo.
Steve Austin's promos. Steve Austin straight up promo about, I'm going to be the superstar that I always knew that I could be. That whole thing. That was
Jack promo.
Cactus Jack promos. Terry Funk promos. No, I'm not going to do the voice right now. It's there's all those aspects of the Shane Douglas getting a chance. Bam Bam Bigelow comes into the company and starts to try to give it some kind of credibility. Chris Candido, Taz gets built up. Sabu, Raven, Sandman, all the big guys. Lance Storm gets an opportunity. Justin Credible reinvents himself.
Al Snow
creates, finds head down there. So you get let's be guys here. Cat fights. Beulah, Francine,
Kimona Wana banger. I mean, Kimona Wana Leia.
Yes, he did.
Jasmine Sinclair.
Intergender matches.
Mm-hmm. So you had a chance for guys who WWE and WCW would never give a second thought to get a chance to get some recognition, get exposure on TV possibly, or pay-per-view or whatever. And so that's that double-edged sword. It has the good and it has the bad, like so many other things. Now I'm going to shut up now, let you guys talk about it, because I've been doing another aspect of ECW that isn't talked about a lot, which was actually a benefit, but I'll turn it back over to you guys. By the way, shout out to my boy HC Loke, the extreme official of ECW, my boy. I had to wear a shirt tonight, so pay your dues.
I guess we'll let James throw his 2 cents in.
I think we can all agree that by the early 90s, pro wrestling needed a new sort of coat of paint. Because as Paul Heyman said on the ECW documentary, pro wrestling had become the equivalent of hairband. You needed a Nirvana to come in and shake up everything, and that's exactly what ECW was. Because, the misconception is it was all hardcore and blood and guts, but you also had good storytelling, good wrestling, good all sorts of different stuff, and ECW, you look at what WWF and WCW were doing, not good. ECW came in, WWF and WCW started, like when WWF went to Philly for King of the Ring, and you started hearing ECW chants. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
And then the next time they go to Pennsylvania, the Philly area, for In Your House, Bret and Bulldog have a bloody main event for the WWF title. And then eventually it's too hard to ignore, and then WWF starts using ECW stuff to do invasions, the Mind Games thing with there, and then the Raw invasion, and take little bits and pieces here and there were bidding wars for certain talent. Like in late 95, there was a bidding war for Public Enemy.
Yep.
They went to WCW, and then eventually WWF, another story. But then bidding wars for all these talents that would have never gotten a chance had this Monday Night War not been happening, because both sides wanted talent. So each side were getting talents just to get talents. Like Mikey Whipwreck was signed to WCW for no reason, other than, hey, we want him. No, we don't want him. We don't want them to have him. And just so many concepts were taken from them. Basically, everything was taken from them, except for real music, because that was the one good thing about ECW. It's like they used real music, but they also stole music.
Yeah.
But just, there was a lot of good stuff. And then, of course, there was a lot of bad stuff because the copycat promotions. Because of ECW, we got XPW and CZW, and now you see GCW. They all they think they know the music, but they don't. They don't know the note. They think it's like, oh, we'll just smash each other with chairs and barbed wire and light tubes, and we're like ECW, and it's like, you're not, because ECW had good storytelling. ECW had really good talent. ECW had a lot of great aspects to it. You just take, oh, that's what made them famous. I mean, overall, ECW, both good and bad to the history of wrestling. Because it needed a change, but then from that change led to, well, just explained it.
Ricky.
So the thing with ECW is fascinating to me is that ECW, of course, like everyone has stated, started as Eastern Championship Wrestling, and then of course we get the promo with Shane Douglas throwing the NWA Championship, which supposedly that was the original NWA Championship that went back from the Ric Flair, from pretty much from the inception of 1905. And of course began a new era of Extreme Championship Wrestling. And a lot of good stuff came from it. A lot of talent got their dues. Sabu, Raven, RVD, the Dudley Boys, Tommy Dreamer, even the Cruiserweights, the Luchadores, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Psicosis, La Parca. I could go on and on and on and on about those two, about all of them. And of course, eventually began a small fan base that this little, I don't want to say indie promotion, but this small company.
It was the little engine that could.
Little engine that could in Philadelphia began to grow as this monster and just went all over the world. People in Japan were talking about ECW. People at WWF, in WCW were talking about ECW. Hell, even in AAA for a short period of time, they were talking about ECW. So it went not just past the United States, it went past the world to the point I think they did one Japanese tour, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
One Japanese tour, what, in 1999, 2000? Around there?
Which earlier, I think. I want to say it was 90.
Around that.
Yeah.
Around that time.
They worked with Michinoku Pro out of Japan.
And
pretty much a small promotion began to work at so many companies because, it's Son of the Giants. And of course, Vince took notice and was like, I can't deny what ECW is doing. So they started helping them out. I mean, hell, Vince had Paul on the payroll for a period of time. And then, of course, it grew and grew and grew to the point they went on to be on TNN and had finally, a network that was behind him for a short period of time. For a short period of time. They had pay-per-views. Barry Legal was the first pay-per-view. Of course, the Mans Trenton incident happened before that, but video games, news articles, magazines. Action figures, T-shirts, promotion. It all seemed pretty good for ECW. But behind the scenes of ECW, their greatest asset was also their greatest downfall with Paul Heyman. He was never a business kind of guy. Paul could create the greatest storyline in the world, but sometimes he needed the money to, create that vision. And some wrestlers, a lot of the wrestlers actually complain and still kind of complain that they were never paid. I mean, bouncing checks every other week.
There's still people owed money.
Exactly. They're still owed money. And I mean, ECW, it's one of those companies that, for wrestling, it was great because on one side, it gave a lot of talent, some recognition. And hell, from that, it kind of spawned, Ring of Honor kind of sort of took some stuff from that. TNA sort of took stuff from that. And then the bad side of ECW, the other companies you guys all mentioned kind of went more to the extreme, more barbed wire, chair shot.
Fucking meat hooks.
Scissors.
They just wanted more blood, more gore, and that was not the main point of ECW. It was to bring the storyline to a more mature audience because, like James said, in the 90s, WCW and WWF were beginning to kind of more of a childish kind of audience, kind of like how WWE kind of did in the PG era in the 2010s. Eventually, they kind of mature, and of course, ECW was their escape to that reality that, hey, there's other companies out there who are giving you great-ass wrestling, And the music, that was one of the best things about ECW. The music made it a difference, even though it was mostly stolen. How many people have said that they saw the Sandman actually walk with the song Sandman from Metallica? Scott's one of them.
And that's one of those things, whenever something from ECW's on the radio, I immediately keep it on. It's like, fuck yeah. But I also forgot another bad aspect. It's all these promotions that think, oh, we're the little engine that could. We can be like ECW too and make it on a shoestring budget. And it's like, no.
No. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of
money.
Sacrifices and money to make stuff like that.
That's why WWE and AEW are really the only shows in town.
Yeah. And thank God that WWE had the heart to give us the One Night Stand 2005, and in 2006 gave us this amazing documentary, and then WWE branding. Let's not talk about
that.
That's another story for another time.
discussion.
Oh,
And
that's the
incidentally,
best rebranding. What are you talking about?
yeah. And incidentally, let's face it, also the fact that Vince did the DVD to get his money back when he assumed the debt of ECW when he bought the property. It was about a good $1 million in there that he was instantly losing. He made it back with the DVD. So.
And then, of course, Vince made like a 6-figure loan to Paul so he could run a pay-per-view in. It was
California, LA.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Paul was under a no-cut contract, so it's like, yeah, all that money, you're going to be paying all that money back.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I almost forgot about you, Mr. Shoot Promo himself. Since you want to shoot cowboy, the only reason you were WWE champion for a year is because Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, he got me! He got me!
Elizabeth!
Hide your wives, everyone! It's Ed!
Hardy!
I got 2 words.
3 words. That was 3 words.
Hardy.
You
When
lied.
JBL got punched out by Joey Styles.
Yes.
That's one of the greatest stories ever. It's like, oh, I'm a tough guy. I'm a bad motherfucker. You let 5 foot, 100-pound Joey Styles knock you out.
How?
Your mother.
You didn't know that Joey was actually trained in martial arts.
Boss, your 2 cents.
I'm about to make a wild comparison with ECW. When ECW, this is on the good side. ECW during that time was like the Pantera of wrestling companies in the 90s. In 95 and 96, they were white hot. They were really, really hot. They were big shit at the time. The big, kind of, screw you mentality, screw the corporates, screw all the big leagues. We're out for our own, survival of the sickest kind of attitude. And it spawned a lot of great talents. You guys mentioned it. RVD, Sabu, Taz, even though Taz was in Smoky Mountain for the time being. Chris Candido, Steve Corino.
It gave us this guy by the name of Steve Austin.
Yeah, little young guy.
I don't think he was. He had a little success, but
a little success, just a tiny bit.
I mean, $1 Million Champion's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a master of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
He was still in a case for a time. But with ECW on the good, it gave us a lot of great stories. Obviously the Sammy and Raven storyline, the Raven and Tommy Dreamer storyline.
Yes.
Taz going after the world title. It gave us all this stuff. Lance Storm coming into his own. Chris Jericho was there for a little bit. Dean Malenko, Psychosis,
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie Guerrero, then what? It had all this great stuff. And you have like the veterans reinviting ladies in their career. Terry Funk, Mick Foley doing a brief stint there. Scott Hall was there for a little bit.
Sid.
Too Cool Scorpio
was there for a bit. At the time. Rick Rude was there for like a cup of coffee. And
cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee. Spring chicken. But with all the good, and trust me, ECW had a lot of good. They, in my opinion, have a little more bad than good. Because another thing too, say what you will about the Evasion angle that happened in 01, it launched RVD's career into the stratosphere in 01 because people loved Rob. And while, yes, Jerry Lynn really got the balls cut out from under him because he really wasn't a WWE guy, light heavyweight champion, remember he was that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
He was the only champion left off of WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Those guys really didn't fit the WWF bill like some other talents. Now onto the bad. Let's start with the controversies with ECW. Of course, the obvious mass transit incident with New Jack
And a
Just New Jack in
17-year-old kid.
general.
Yeah, which eventually that was the
Like,
catalyst
to
why
be fair, you're 17-year-old. You're 17 years old. You're lying about your working experience, saying you work with Killer Kowalski, and you're asking a veteran what you want to do in the ring. You're gonna get your shit kicked in. And
read Scott's shirt.
At least New Jack did take it too far, and the whole
too far.
That's just putting it lightly.
Maybe a little too far.
Well, it wasn't worth killing the kid, for Christ's sake.
That was far enough. He went all the way over.
He didn't kill the kid. He just beat the fucking shit out of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he bled a lot.
And yeah. And then the other
And now he's dead.
The other controversy, what Arthur Jones just put in the chat, the Sandman crucifixion angle.
Yeah.
Where on that night, a young plucky Kurt Angle was actually going to do a tryout match there, and that's when Paul picked up another good, promising new talent. And then they did that angle, and Kurt's like, "Nah, I'm out."
Yeah, this ain't for me.
I mean, personally, not.
And then he comes into the WWF after Undertaker and Austin do virtually the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not a cross. It's a symbol. Actually, it's a symbol because it's not a cross.
I just see.
Of course, another big factor. You guys brought it up. The reason why I keep saying WCW, ECW never got as huge as it is. Paul was never a businessman. He was a great booker, but never a businessman. Vince
was the businessman.
Vince was a businessman. Vern, for a brief period of time, was a businessman. Ted Turner was a businessman. Paul never really got the niche for that. If you're going to run a wrestling company, you're going to have to be a proper businessman. Looking at you, Tony Khan. We'll get to him later. But what the whole point is, checks being balanced, never getting their proper dues. Like, no one really got paid all that well. Like John Cena said, I'm going to balance you like an ECW check when he was roasting Paul.
Mm-hmm.
I love Paul, but if you're going to run a business, you got to pay your people. You got to pay your people properly, because if not, they're going to want to get out of town. And even some of the diehards were like, "Yeah, these people kind of got dicked over because they were never paid properly."
And the crazy
elephant in the other big elephant. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
The crazy thing is, they were still selling out buildings and selling a shit ton of merchandise and a lot of pay-per-views and a lot of action figures and a lot of video games.
Where was the money? That's the thing.
The pay-per-view companies didn't want to pay them.
Yeah,
and probably a lot of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But even Paul said that the pay-per-view company screwed them over out of a couple million that would have kept them going for like another year or so.
Right.
Yeah. And the other big elephant in the room, you guys have already addressed it. The big elevation and evolution of the violent hardcore wrestling. GCW, CCW, ICW, all these big hardcore wrestling promotions. XPW. Thank you, Rob Black. Just to me, it's not wrestling. It's macho outlaw wrestling. I'm going to be turning to Jim Cornette here in a minute. I just need a Coke. I just need a Sprite and a bitch about Dairy Queen.
What about a Wendy's double triple cheeseburger, extra cheese?
Extra mayo.
I'm not feeling it right now.
Motherfucker.
But then you can't be Cornette.
No.
Okay, that's fair. So,
I'd be down for one.
Okay, raise your voice up 20 octaves.
Goddamn, motherfucker!
Oh, wait.
It's fine, Dairy Queen.
Let's see if I can do the silent accent. Goddamn, motherfucker!
but back to what I was saying. The rise of the hardcore bullshit. Glass. Thumbtacks. The Doors. Not the band. The actual Doors. You know,
light tubes.
Skinning themselves alive for $25.
Barbed wire.
They're doing all of this shit and raising up their hospital bill for 75 people in a warehouse. Remember when Nick Gage was in a light tube, got like his armpit cut and he was bleeding to death with a light tube?
Freaking David Arquette getting his throat cut.
Almost killed him. Yep.
Yeah. You want to know how many people were actually there? Probably about like 100 people there that witnessed that bullshit. It is astounding to me that these people didn't actually die when they were doing this stuff. And the whole IWA, was it Ian Rotten? I think it was Ian Rotten.
Boy, was he.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the one that kept fucking everyone over, especially that one kid that died when he was doing drugs, and I think the dad or the grandpa went off on him. It's just, why? Like, with ECW, when they did the hardcore stuff, at least people were cheering. At least they were popping for it.
Because of the storyline.
They didn't do it all the time either.
No.
Exactly. Well, yes, New Jack does it. That's what he all does. It's a special attraction match. When you were constantly cutting yourself with glass, barbed wire, and thumbtacks,
pizza cutters,
you're doing it for a pop.
Nikon,
you're not getting a raise out of it. You're doing it for the people's sick fantasies in this world of professional wrestling.
Freaking last night on Impact, PCO got his lips staple gun shut.
Yeah.
Necro Butcher would have that happen to him as well. He would have his tongue stapled to the turnbuckle. And it's like, look, Necro seems like a nice guy outside the ring, but Jesus Christ, dude, why? Like, the only reason CCW worked was with the ROH feud, because at least there was wrestlers involved in that.
Hell, without that angle, you wouldn't have gotten Chris Hero in ROH.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But, and the thing that pisses me off, too, about all these hardcore wrestling promotions, there's actually talent on those shows. It's just they have to be resorted to all this deathmatch bullshit. It's not wrestling. And it's irritating that they have to resort to all of this hardcore weaponry. Nothing more than like a soda and a burger at the local concession stand. They're doing it for little to no money. No one goes over in these promotions. With ECW, they were over. New Jack was over in some capacity. Taz was over. Bigelow was over. Mike Awesome. Masato Tanaka.
Sandman.
Balls Mahoney. Sandman. Dreamer. The Dudleys. Spike Dudley. 911 even occasionally. They were over with the crowd. With all these other indie promotions, they aren't over. The people are chanting for the spots and saying, this is professional wrestling.
Or they chant the company name, which is another thing they took from ECW.
Exactly.
TNA.
But it's originality. No, it's not.
ECW fans were doing it 25 years ago.
Exactly. So, to make it short, the TLDR, there was some really damn good stuff, but I feel like there's a little more bad that outweighs the good in some retrospective. But ECW, it was, like you guys said, a fresh coat of paint. And eventually, the bigger stars went on to do bigger things. Rob, he became a multiple-time world champion in other companies. Sabu was over. Dreamer got way over in some capacity in other companies that he did in ECW. Raven was one of the best characters in any wrestling promotion at that time. Sandman, arguably the greatest wrestler to have some of the worst matches of all time.
Well, that intro.
Joey Styles said that Sandman had the worst wrestling ability of anybody on the ECW roster, and that included New Jack.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he was the most over guy on the entire show because of his entrance.
Rhino. We forgot Rhino, too. Terry. He was red hot.
That's where he developed.
Super crazy. Just so many of these other guys.
Jerry, super crazy. Carino.
Jerry.
Super crazy, yeah.
I mean, what other promotion would Public Enemy have ever gotten over in?
They were over in WCW, but
not really.
Not really.
Not to the degree they were.
Fit ECW's more,
and that was some people. Like I'm sorry, Shane Douglas, as good as he was in ECW, was never as good in WWF or in WCW.
Nope.
He fit perfect in ECW.
That's because they named him Dean Douglas, but even then,
he could have been Shane Douglas, just regular plain old Shane Douglas, and wouldn't have worked in the WWF.
Well,
because he couldn't cut those promos.
You also got to take into consideration, by the time WCW came around, Shane was kind of checked out at that point. Hell, do you guys remember his brief stint in TNA in like 2009?
Where he just where he's like, "I want your job, Daniels."
Well, he was there multiple times.
Give me the feud with Raven in 03.
Yep.
Which
led to
Yep. Yeah.
I'm gonna shave your head forward.
But anyway, so now on to my spiel. So now with my spiel, like I was pretty late when it came to ECW. The very first ECW thing I ever watched was an old VHS tape that I bought at a dollar store. I forget what was the name of it, but it had like matches like RVD, Jerry Lynn, Masato Tanaka, Mike Awesome, Taz Sabu from Barely Legal, and like the Dudleys versus Spike and Balls Mahoney when Spike got powerbombed through 2 flaming tables. So that was the tape I had, and I watched it, I was like, whoa, this is very different than the wrestling that I watched. And then, of course, over time, the invasion angle happened. Even though we can say what we will about it, it at least made me be aware of what ECW was prior. Then going back all these years later and discovering the old ECW stuff through the DVDs, the documentaries, one-night stands, and all that stuff. And my thing about with the good of ECW is pretty much what everybody has said. Like, it was a new place for the boys to work or for new guys to get over. But most importantly, it was a new place for veterans to go and rejuvenate their careers or reinvent themselves. Like, Scotty Flamingo, Johnny Polo, he goes down there and becomes one of the greatest characters in the 90s. You had Bam Bam Bigelow after how his WWF run ended. Took about a year or two off and then goes back to the big leagues and goes to ECW and great matches with the likes of Taz and helping to build Taz up. Yeah, and occasionally the big star will pop in for a special appearance, like a Rick Rude, like a Steiner Brothers for a brief period, among many other things. Steve Austin. If it wasn't for his time in ECW, we would not have gotten Stone Cold. Because that was really where the Stone Cold character truly began. And, of course, yeah, the great mixture of, like, everything you could ever want in pro wrestling. Occasional hardcore matches, technical wrestling, storytelling, lucha libre, Japanese strong style, before it became coined as that. But just this influx of talent from all over the world that heard about this company. I mean, hell, even like musicians who are wrestling fans caught wind of ECW. Hell, there's the classic story of Rich Ward, the guitarist of Fozzy, where he was playing with his band Stuck Mojo somewhere in Tampa, and Chris Jericho, being the big metalhead he was, wanted to go see the band Testament. And then his friends were like, oh, you should stick around, you should go there early, check out this band Stuck Mojo. They're all big wrestling fans. And Jericho was thinking, they probably don't know who I am. What am I doing? And then Rich Ward is backstage after the Stuck Mojo show, and they're like, hey, guess what? Chris Jericho's in the crowd. Where? Where is he? Because they both loved the same stuff and became practically brothers and still together to this day. Just... It's crazy how far and wide ECW did grow beyond just in the States. So, of course, all the good side. The bad side, I'll briefly touch on the whole hardcore thing. There's a certain friend I have, I won't quote him by name, Cole. Yeah, his name is Cole. I love him to death. He's like kind of like a little brother. But even I have to say, He prefers the fucking over-the-top glass tubes, barbed wire
deathmatch
stuff more
wrestling
than
scheme.
he prefers that
Garbage
over everything
wrestling.
because he's practically a masochist and a sadist. And it's like, we try and tell him, dude, that's not wrestling. That's just idiocracy.
It's
You know,
spots.
at least with the major promotions like in ECW, WCW, and WWF, WWE, we would get these kind of weapon-based matches as occasional treats, and they're always cool because we don't see them that often. It's the law of diminishing returns. The more you do something, the less cool and effective it is. Thankfully, with WWE, they don't go over the top with this stuff. AEW.
We'll talk about them here in a bit. We'll talk about them.
They got a pay-per-view tomorrow that we got to preview.
Yay!
We'll get to that. But anyways, but the big con I have with ECW, and I'm sure Scott will go more in detail about it, is the fan base. Yeah, the ECW fan base, they were the biggest part of ECW. The fan interactions between themselves and the wrestlers. The bring your own weapons matches were always fun, interactive things between the wrestlers and the fans. Of course, yeah, there was that. And then this was around the time internet message boards started to become a thing. Like, you had websites like WrestleZone.com, which was one of the first sites my brothers checked out. And I used to check out until maybe 7 years ago. I don't check any of those sites anymore. Not that they're bad. Like, WrestleZone, I do think is a legitimately great website. I just don't go on there anymore just because it's like, I just don't. But yeah, like, internet message boards where they can chit-chat to each other and talk, like Yahoo Messenger, that kind of stuff. AOL. Remember AOL, people? No? Didn't think so. But
You're too young.
But yeah, they would chat with each other online and say, oh, you like this? Oh, I like this. You don't like this? Yeah, I'm with you on that. And it just kind of began a groundswell of a fan base, not just in ECW, but in all of pro wrestling. I mean, hell, Die Rocky Die with Rocky Maivia spawned because a lot of fans just did not want to see that kind of babyface. That kind of grew out of the ECW fan base being the way they were. It's like, we don't like this, we like this, we'll cheer for this, we boo this, and all this and that. And I feel like
it was the first wrestling promotion that really was all about the fans chose who they liked. The company didn't. It was the fans who did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of does get into a lot of the fan base of really ever since the internet blew up into what it is now, like in the mid-2000s, really, when you started to see websites like MySpace and YouTube and eventually later on Facebook and Twitter, where it just got so widespread. To me, it's like the ECW fan base was kind of the early beginnings of where we're at today with the fan base, where it's like they don't know what they want. When something happens that they want, then they turn around and hate it, where they just fickle. To quote Daniel Bryan, fickle.
You
fickle.
fucking mark.
Fickle. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those people. So I'm going to let Scott go more in depth about it and go from there.
So this kind of leads into the other factor I want to do. I'm not taking my glasses off because I want to shoot right now. I just didn't feel like I needed to have them on right now. I'm not reading anything. So don't be scared. I think the big factor, I'll say like the ultimate good for ECW was not viewed as a good at the time. And that was the concept that they did that no other promotion was going to do. Here's the curtain.
Going taboo.
Can't wait.
Because you got to see that the infamous blinding of the Sandman.
Yep.
You know?
So good guys and bad guys.
Exactly. All straight from the DVD that Ricky has shown right there. Throw it up there real quick. Thank you very much, sir. There it is.
You can check it out on Peacock or the WWE Network, depending what country you're in.
Right. So it was unheard of. Breaking kayfabe like that. You didn't see that. And it was so taboo that other promotions and other wrestlers and promotions like, fuck they doing? The fucking marks of they're ruining everything. It was time to do it. It's like, come here. Let me show you something. You see this guy over here? Okay, he just went out there and busted his ass for you people. You know what he's getting paid? $50 if he's lucky. He's got to go to work on Monday. But he did that because he loves the business and he wanted to provide entertainment to you, the ticket-paying fan who's going to sit in that audience and watch him.
Yeah,
attitude is what started to filter throughout the business to where it used to be office wrestlers always doing this, always separated by that wall. With ECW, it was the first promotion that really showed cohesion between the two factions. Office, no. Paulie, and you saw this in the DVD, Paulie set up his table in the middle of the locker room. Full access. What do you got for me? I'm not staying in a separate room. I'm not in some corporate building somewhere. I'm not with a big table full of ex-wrestlers. What do you got? Well, we could do this. All right, he's here. Let's put them together. We'll get a pen and get the subway napkin. That whole story there. So it pulled back the curtain. It gave ECW this rallying all for one and one for all mentality. The fans picked up on that, and Paulie was sure to milk that for all it was worth when he made those big announcements with the entire locker room in the ring. Like, we're going to pay-per-view! And everyone's there to celebrate because everyone got them there, the wrestlers and the fans. That mentality started to filter into locker rooms all across the country and eventually all around the world to where it was like, yeah, why the fuck are we fighting with each other? And we should all be like going out there and cheering each other on. That's why now you see way more behind the scenes stuff than you ever saw before with AEW and WWE and TNA and all that stuff. We just today, and we're going to talk about it a little bit, is Night of Champions. There's a bunch of videos out there of all the wrestlers getting to do all these fun activities while they're in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Were you going to see that 30, 40 years ago? No. You were going to see that in like some kind of special thing on WWF television. You never saw that kind of stuff. If you did, it was gimmicky and it was goofy. You didn't see the
girls in cars.
Girls in cars, exactly. So you didn't see the fun that the wrestlers had. Watch the footage of Karrion Kross and Scarlett going up on that rocket launch ride.
And then, of course, you've got so many obnoxious people. They're breaking character. They're breaking. It's like, let them fucking have fun.
Fuck you.
It's a TV show.
Exactly. That was the thing that ECW really, in my opinion, started. It was the beginning of that aspect of, it's a show. We're going to go out there and give you a show. We're not going to insult your intelligence. We fuck up sometimes. We leave it on camera. That's on the DVD too from Ron. Or, the guys would screw up and it just happens. You fucked up. You fucked up chance. Started in Philadelphia because of ECW fans who are like tired of the same old bullshit. So they're going to call you on stupid shit. That's why you had to be straight up with those fans. You had to be not real, because that's what is real, but you had to be honest with what you were and what you were doing with the fans. That's the big thing that I think ECW did, was open that curtain up and bring that mentality of everyone working together. And you see it all the time. I saw it in plenty of locker rooms in my time in the business where everyone was like, let's do this together. We're all doing this for fun because in a couple of days, we all got to go to work on Monday morning, or we all have to do this, or we got families to take care of, or, whatever. The guys would drive so many fucking hours. I have friends of mine who would get in a car and drive 8 hours to go do a show in Buffalo, New York, maybe get $20. Why? Because you just fucking needed to do it. You just wanted it so bad you'd put that time in on the road. Because the audience was worth it. Because the trip was worth it. Because the guys you got to hang with was worth it. That's the whole reason of doing pro wrestling. It's to go out there and put on a show no matter where it is. I was driving, I've told the story before, and if my man Lokan here right now, you'd be hearing the story too. Drive down to Ring of Honor shows in Philadelphia from Rutland, Vermont. That's a 7-hour drive. Leave my house at 6 in, get down there by 1 with me and the entire crew. Unload that truck for Ring of Honor at the Murphy Rec Center in downtown Philly. Bring everything inside. Set up the ring, set up the guardrail, set up the chairs. Some of us had to set up the curtains and do all kinds of crazy stuff like that. work security for the entire show. Show's over, tear everything down, load up the truck, never getting paid, by the way. Load up everything. It's 1 a.m. Go to Tony Luke's and get a cheesesteak. You get on the road. I would be home 25 hours from when I left with no sleep and a cheesesteak in my stomach with no money in my pocket, and I couldn't wait to do it again. That's the freaking
urge.
That's what this business gives you.
The fucking drug.
And that's not me being on the show. That's just me being able to. I'm in the locker room with Samoa Joe, CM Punk, Low-Key, AJ Styles, all the Tommy Dreamers there that one night, Bryan Danielson. Just getting to say hi to these people. Christopher Daniels walking up to me to say hi. How you doing? I'm Chris. Nice to meet you. Hi. All the guys in the ring crew who are hanging out in the locker room. It's fucking Christopher Daniels. He doesn't have to do that, but he does it. Why? Because he respects the business and respects what everyone has to go through to get there. So that's an aspect of ECW that opened up everything, in my opinion. And that's why we see the stuff we do, where you appreciate the people and not just the superstars that they were portrayed to be on television. ECW.
So in a way, ECW was kind of breaking kayfabe, but not. They were breaking kayfabe without telling people it's fake.
Yeah, because they didn't need to.
Yeah,
they need to.
Basically, Vince McMahon called it fake in 1989 in front of New Jersey.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So we could stop paying taxes on the shows.
Yeah. Which honestly, thank God.
The dedication of the Sandman, that whole blinding angle. It's on the DVD. Like, motherfucker didn't have to do that. They're doing this thing with the Sandman's blind. He stayed home.
For
Wife
a month.
answered the door. Wouldn't go around for a month. And I tore that thing off and came the fuck out of Tommy, and the whole crowd loved it. Just bought into it.
Dudley's broke Beulah's neck, and you never saw her again.
Nope.
Never saw her for 7-8 years.
Yep. Yep. Until she came back at the One Night Stand pay-per-view. So
exactly.
All the stuff they did, the JT Smiths and the Mikey Whipwrecks and the Little Guidos and the
you want to talk ring crew? Mikey started ring crew in ECW, and then he became the jobber who got bounced around, who got sympathy, and then Triple Crown winner.
Triple Crown
19
years old.
Yep.
My man Loke was on the independents in Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, the Northeast. Started in 1996, 97, and was paying his dues. Got to pay your dues, kid. Working independents around the Northeast, and got his opportunity. He went down to train with Dory Funk Jr. like I did, and he went up to Dory Funk after a week of being at the conservatory. He says, "Funk, what do you think?" And Funk told him, "I think you're a hell of a talent. You can draw money anywhere you want, and I want to help you. Who do you want me to call?" What? Dory Funk Jr. just said to him, "You're going to call a company for me?" And fuck, Loke was like, "ECW, call him up." He says, "That sounds good to me because you're a small guy and I think they'll like that," and all that stuff. And fucking Funk called Dreamer, and he told Dreamer about Loke, and Loke got the spot with ECW, and they had just hired what's his name, Danny Daniels, who was another heel referee. So they brought Loke in. He's like, "Well, we can like put you on ring crew and stuff like that, and you can start traveling around to the different shows. If an opportunity comes up, we can give that to you, but we can't guarantee anything." And Loke was like, "Fuck it, I don't care. I just want in." So Loke was doing ring crew. He would set up the table. He would set up the ring, set up the chairs, everything I just told you about the Ring of Honor. He'd ring announce, sometimes wrestle, referee, ring announce, sell T-shirts, all in the same night. And then he'd have to load up the ring truck and drive a ring truck, which didn't go over 35 miles an hour, mind you, to the next town, wherever that may be. He'd drive that thing between frickin' Wisconsin and Texas and Florida and New York, all places in between. That motherfucker was on the road every frickin' night because he was looking for an opportunity. Did it come? Yes, he did. Got to have a TV match on TV where he was a referee, but he was in the fucking ring with Steve Corino and Dusty Rhodes. What? He got that chance there. From that, he got to get in the Ring of Honor with Tony DeVito. They became the Carnage Crew, Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions. They got exposure through that. And Loke right now is my age, and that son of a bitch is still going. And he's one of the best workers on the Northeast scene right now. He is the token veteran. He goes around. He teaches everybody. I love the guy to death. I had one of my best matches ever against him. And he is a prime example of what ECW did to help somebody out who was just looking for an opportunity. He had to make his own, and he did it. So however you gauge success, he started his own wrestling school. He's a carpenter by trade, but he can fucking work. He can talk like crazy. I get a lot of what my promos like from him. So, yeah, he just an amazing dude, a great guy, fun to hang around with, and especially when he's drunk. Oh my god! But Loke.
Oh, God.
She knows.
Oh, that's what he said about me.
Oh no!
I was in charge of a women's locker room.
Yes, my wife is in charge of the women in the locker room. Okay, this is one of the companies I was booking. And Loke, I love him to death, but he's a whorehound. So he would try to hook up with the various women in the locker room and so forth. And I say that with love. And he was pretty drunk this one night, and he was trying to he looked at her. It was like, wow, you were Max's wife? Oh, man, we could have some fun together. And what did you say?
I'm sorry, you're just too short for me.
Oh, that was cold! That was his response.
But then
There was that one. And okay, I'm not done yet. Another fun story with Loke. I hate to bury him like this, but I'm not burying him. It's fun. Yeah, this other night he was really. He's gotten better. He got better over time. But there was a time where he was enjoying the party a little too much. He knows it. So I'm not talking out of school.
And the girl was only like 18.
I forget who it was.
The one whose father always brought her to the show. She would come around with Wayne and Aaron.
Oh, right,
I
yeah.
can't remember her name, but she was a really nice girl.
Yes. So there was one girl that would come around the shows, like she was just talking about, and she was legal. She was a legal age. Okay, I want to make sure I clarify that she was legal, because some of the boys didn't care, and so Loke was trying to talk to this girl and maybe get a number and maybe you want to go hook up or something. Jessica.
Yes, and
Yep.
she actually looked at him and said, "Loke, you're a player."
Yeah, Look, you're a player. He's a player. I'm not going to go with this. So she steps up. Mama locker room over here steps up. It's like, what was the line? You just said something to him, and
I just said, "Loke, my ring girls." Now, an innocent young lady. Would you cut the shit? We're not your hookup.
and then Loke's response, Mrs. Burton, you're the biggest fucking cock block I ever met. I've met a lot of them, but you're the biggest cock blocker I ever met.
Rennie, too.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yes. Yeah, biggest cock player. And then he called you the Francine of the locker room, which we still didn't know if that was an insult or a compliment.
He said it was a compliment because Rhino said the same thing.
Oh, okay, because she was like the mom of the locker room, which she was. So, yeah, but yeah, you're the biggest mama bear, the biggest cock blocker ever. God, I fucking love Loke. Loke was the guy. Loke was, and I'm sorry to just be rambling on about this, but I just love this guy so much, and I'd do anything for him because he was in charge of the Ring of Honor ring crew. So when we were doing that stuff, like I just told you about earlier on, with all the long drives and setting up the rings and all that stuff, we're doing it for him because he'd tell you straight up, no guarantee of a spot, dude, but he can still come and help out and all that stuff. Be cool, and he did everything he could to try to help guys get on shows. Diablo, Oman, Cloudy, Cheech. All those guys. Don and Marcos, he trained those guys, if you've heard those names before. The Ring Crew Express. He'd do all that stuff. They had a gimmick one time where Logan and Vito were beating up the Ring Crew. So we got beat up by those guys on several shows. And I don't know if I shared the footage with you guys or not. But
that night, because he was so drunk wearing the pinstripe suit and everything, I had him pose for a picture with me, and he went like this in the picture, and I said, "That was my father taking that photograph." He went, "Oh my God, sir,
I'm so sorry." Yeah, he grabbed my wife around here.
Oh, jeez.
With her father taking the picture.
My father was like, "Don't worry, just when I think I've said it all."
That's right. But Loke was a guy who, he had been there, he had done it, he was in ECW, he was doing Ring of Honor, he was making all that stuff. So I got a chance to work him. It was selfish of me to do it because I wanted to work him. We never had the opportunity. I didn't think I could hang with him, and because I had good matches, but he was and I was like, I don't think I can live up to that. Had the match, I thought I did pretty good. And he put me over when the match was over. He's like, "You did a great job, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're going to do this again sometime." We never did, unfortunately. But yeah, he's definitely one of those guys to do anything for. And like I said, that's from that ECW mentality, like anything for the business, anything for the boys. We're in this together. We're going to get it done, and we're going to help this business grow. And that's look at everybody who was on the show as we segue into our review now of Night of Champions. Look at everybody that was on the show today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Basically, all of them are spawned from that mentality and that era. As Boss said, the Pantera of the wrestling industry. How many bands spawn inspiration from Dimebag and Phil and Rex and Vinny and all that stuff and what they did? So it just that creates that. It's like that prism. I've always talked about how we argue that some people argue. I don't think we do that. Black Sabbath is the first heavy metal band. So you have like a prism where everything flows into this prism, and that's Black Sabbath, and then everything flows out of it to become all the metal that there is in the world. That's what ECW becomes. Everything flows into ECW, and then everything comes out of it. For some must die so that others may live. ECW had to fold for everything else to grow.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's just the way it happens. And yes, all the copycats, XPWs, CZWs, there were several more in the New York scene that I'm not even going to get into right now. But because they all wanted to copy and just be the next big thing. And thankfully, like Ring of Honor, a year later after ECW folds, goes the complete 180. We're going to be straight wrestling. We're going to be pure wrestling. We're going to present you hardcore athletic matches, not hardcore brawls and blood and guts. So that helps span off from there and grows the mentality that I just talked about, that all for one for all mindset. So that's what ECW meant to me.
All right. Well, pretty much the synopsis, the good, the
bad,
the good and the bad. Pretty much just like any wrestling company, there's going to be elements that will be a blessing and a curse. Yeah. But that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, and in some universe, ECW is still going, which I don't know how would have been in today's society.
If ECW would have still lived through 2001, they would have been the ones to get all of. There would have been no Ring of Honor.
Nope.
Or TNA.
There might have been a TNA because there would have been no WCW.
Yeah.
But there would have been no Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Like ECW would have gotten the Joes and the Bryans and the Punks and the AJs and guys like that.
Like in some ways, ECW was more so a blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, and I think ECW would have slowly turned into what eventually Ring of Honor became. Then again, there will probably be some extreme matches there and there. But I mean, that's the thing. We don't know because.
In an alternate universe, that happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Raven goes from ECW to Ring of Honor, and who does he feud with? CM Punk, and helps build Punk up to where.
And they did that in TNA as well.
Yes, and they did that in TNA as well because TNA wanted to capitalize on it.
Yep.
So
yeah. So every time a wrestling show is in Philadelphia, you know why they chant ECW.
Yes.
Expect WrestleMania weekend to be a lot. There would be a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
In the hall.
Expect an NXT in the ECW arena.
I think they're gonna book it before any other place can.
Yeah.
Because WrestleMania weekend, there's gonna be so many.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm just going to call it right now, Paul Heyman, first Hall of Fame inductee. It has to.
Make him the headliner.
Make him the headliner.
Mm-hmm. He has to, yep. And, 23, it's 22 years now, but 23 years next year since the company folded, and you're going to hear those three letters chanted more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, once Paul comes out for that Hall of Fame, he's probably going to choke up on tears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of like when he came out at One Night Stand.
Yes.
And he just had that emotion, and then he had to kayfabe it a little bit. It's like I was smoking a joint with Van Damme. You could tell he was crying. Like, so emotional.
Joey was
never
crying
thought
at the
he'd
beginning
be
of the
there.
pay-per-view. Yeah. Joey Styles was openly getting ready to burst.
But would you have the entire Hall of Fame being just ECW guys?
You could get away with it.
Who would
Dreamer.
Paul
Dreamer.
Dreamer.
We've already got the Dudleys in there. Dreamer.
Taz.
You already got Van Dam.
Raven sued the company. We'll see how they feel about that. Yeah.
If Raven wants a paycheck, he'll come in.
He'll do it. Yeah.
Taz is AEW.
He's still under AEW. So Sandman, they could.
Maybe.
If he wants a paycheck.
Joey Styles.
Sabu, if he
Joey
wants
Styles.
a paycheck.
Sabu won't do it anyway.
Joey Styles.
We'll talk about Sabu here later.
Joey.
Bill Alfonso.
Yes.
Wasn't he a WWF referee?
He was.
Yeah.
He was the one. When Giant Gonzalez went on that rampage at WrestleMania 9, the referee he chokeslammed was Bill Alfonso.
Bill started in Florida. He was part of Championship Wrestling from Florida. He did a little bit like WCW. Then he was in WWF. Then he wound up in ECW.
As an evil referee turned manager.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The official NWA official. That was his whole gimmick. Like,
I'm trying to think who else they won't induct balls because.
How about the Blue World Order, the BWO?
Yeah,
do that.
We could, but
Al Snow, maybe.
Al
Snow is kind of that mid-card inductee where everybody gets a turn in.
Could be.
You know who should do? You know who should they do for the celebrity wing? Jasmine St. Clair.
God no.
No.
God no.
What about Jazz?
Yes.
Isn't she in the Hall of Fame?
No, she's not. I mean, she got her start in ECW.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn Marie. Is Dawn Marie in the Hall of Fame?
No, and I don't think she will.
I don't think she will either
She's
because of
not
the
a Hall
whole
of
money thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she soon over her getting fired while pregnant.
Yeah, good job, Vince.
Yeah, well, that was Vince's fault, but also there was the whole there was the charity show she was supposedly taking money from, and that whole controversy was out there for a while.
But
do you think they can do Chris Candido?
Yeah,
they could.
They could.
A posthumous Hall of Fame.
Posthumous
They could. Yeah.
Bam Bam.
Yes.
Bam Bam.
Bam
Yeah.
Bam.
Bam Bam.
Bam Bam. Yeah.
Mike Awesome.
Who would induct Paul? Who will be the one who
would induct Paul? That's a good question.
If they don't induct Dreamer, then Dreamer.
Yeah, probably.
If Dreamer gets inducted, then probably Bubba.
Probably.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if Brock inducted Paul here? Brock.
No.
Oh my God.
That would be awesome.
Can you imagine Brock in ECW? Oh,
I don't know if his style would have fit.
I think
Taz fit in ECW.
Yeah, Taz would have wanted to choke him out.
Yeah.
Except Taz was in WWF by then.
That's
Brock
true,
would have been the new Taz.
Yeah.
And Taz's neck was, his neck was on a shoestring by that point.
How about Dean Malenko? He needs to get inducted.
Now, we kind of crap on them, but Public Enemy. I mean,
more Rocco Rock. I mean, Rocco Rock had more respect than Johnny Grunge did, but
as a team, if you're doing an ECW theme Hall of Fame,
you do need a tag team.
Homegrown, the first creation of Paul Heyman of ECW. Yeah. So
I'm gonna say this one to piss Scott off. The Pitbulls.
He'll never accept it, but Shane.
Yeah.
Douglas.
Shane,
because who's the one who threw the belt down?
And launched the whole thing.
What about Francine?
Oh, you know who should fucking go in? Todd is God.
Todd Gordon.
Todd Gordon. Yeah.
If it was for Todd Gordon, there wouldn't have been an ECW.
And there you
go. Make Todd God be the one who inducts Paul.
Induct each other.
Todd Gordon sounds like a Batman character for some weird reason.
He does.
Well, yeah, the Gordon name.
Commissioner Todd Gordon.
Technically, he was the ECW commissioner on TV.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
He was?
Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
What a coincidence!
That was the connection.
The camera angles, where do you think they got
Batman.
those
Yes. There's a lot of shit like that.
Anyway, let's move on.
Move on to Night of Champions. So,
Night of
God!
The Saudi show they've done.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it NXT Takeover Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
yeah, I was surprised that they decided to open with Seth AJ.
Well,
that was gonna be
we got to remember Seth's doing the movie stuff, so
he's doing
do the match quick and then get the hell out of there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But fucking amazing match between those two. Holy shit.
Really good.
Amazing match.
I'd argue it's match of the night.
There's a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of great
show.
moments throughout the event.
For a straight up wrestling match, yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, was it
just for action bell to bell?
Was it as great? Was it as great as their Money in the Bank 2019 match?
No.
You can argue, but I think the 2019 match was just a little bit better.
Yeah, it was way better.
This is AJ's best match in fucking forever.
Since Balor at Survivor Series.
Yep.
And hell, Rollins being the only man to be in 3 inaugural championship matches. WWE, NXT, and Universal.
Yep.
Good call. Yep.
And I also like the storytelling that they did with Seth's knee in this match, too.
Yes,
I really like the
smart.
storytelling in
It was
that.
very smart storytelling there, yeah. That was really good. Good finish.
Yeah, I thought it was
sense.
a great match. Really,
Like
really
trading off all that stuff.
Seth, he'd earned this one after the last couple of years. Pretty much that disastrous babyface run in 2019, then turned heel. But through that heel work, he became babyface just because he was so good as whatever the hell his character's supposed to be. I still don't know.
Visionary.
He put Cody Rhodes over clean 3 times,
including one with a torn tit.
Yeah.
And now he's world champion.
And my nipple fell off.
What does that tell you about how great of a character he is?
Also,
That's where the character is more important than the work in the ring.
I also want to point out another thing. Seth's pants are really Jake Robert-esque.
His outfit. People were calling him the Jacksonville Jaguar fan.
Even though
Tony!
he's a Bear fan.
He kind of looked like a Jacksonville Jaguar.
He did.
Tony!
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
AEW confirmed. I'm just kidding.
Oh, God.
Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door. Oh, we'll talk about Forbidden Door.
Seth versus Moxley.
In a proper match, not like whatever the fuck they were doing at TLC 2018.
Last man bleeding match.
Remind me of that.
Last man bleeding match.
Last man bleeding. Moxley's already going to bleed first.
And boss, please do not bring up that TLC 2018 matchup again, please.
That whole thing, they screwed that match up. That should have been a brawl. That should have been a hardcore bleeding match.
Exactly. But it was just a regular match.
And that killed Ambrose. That killed Moxley's WWE career.
Dean's last push.
So moving on to the next match, we got
Trish and Becky.
The Widow against Trish. The Widow against Trish. Becky in the Kill Bill outfit.
Yeah.
Trish rocking the outfit she wore when she wrestled with the broken nose thing.
Yeah.
It was a takeoff of that. Thank you, Trish, on the back. Really well done. Really well done match.
Good match.
Yeah.
I did not see that ending coming with Zoe Stark out of nowhere.
Zoe Stark?
Hey.
Good for her.
What?
Good for her.
Being associated with Trish.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, she broke Becky's nose because that looked bad. And
I couldn't tell when though when she did that. If she did that on the floor or when Becky took the Stratisfaction, because she wasn't bleeding.
It might have been the Stratisfaction.
No, yeah.
Because when Zoe hit it was the stomach and chest.
It was like right here.
To Becky.
And then in the ring, you notice Becky went face first and didn't protect herself.
Yeah.
So I think that's where she got it.
Yeah.
But regardless, Becky bleeds twice. You know what happens when Becky bleeds. red turns to green. So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens.
And I think I have a theory on where this could lead to. SummerSlam. Trish and Zoe versus Becky and Lita.
Yeah.
Now, okay, let's go with this now. I wonder if this would be a chance for Lita to step aside and we get somebody new to come up to back up Becky.
Maybe.
Like Gigi?
Yes.
Orange, like carrot cake and carrot cake, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Nikita.
Gigi and Becky making some good carrot cake.
But from what Ricky just said, Nikita too. Nikita would
if she's healthy enough, and I don't.
If she is,
and I doubt she will be, because didn't she have another like knee surgery or something?
A couple of months ago. A couple of months ago.
It's because that sweet ass couldn't handle it.
Yes. So if Lita's not going to be doing it, I think it'd be a great opportunity to bring up another talent to put them right in with the top woman in the company and one in the Hall of Famer. Whoa. Yeah. What an opportunity for Zoe. So,
Gunther and Ali, not the longest match in the world, but still really good.
So I saw this the other day on WWE.com during the history of the Intercontinental Champion section, where they show all the champions. The banner has Gunther on it with all the different other with like Warrior, Perfect, and Shawn, I believe, and then Gunther's right there.
Yep.
They are pushing him hard as the great IC champion of this era.
Oh yeah, he's gonna break the record.
At this point,
he is.
He made Ali look like $1 million.
He did.
And I was saying this before we went live. Why did Ali look like Sean Navari from 2005 when he was with Muhammad Hassan and Kurt Angle?
I forgot one of the funniest things of the entire night happened during this match with Michael Cole on commentary. When it looked like Ali was about to win, Michael Cole goes, "Oh, Ali almost won in the upset of the year!" Like he had a bad voice crack. He voice cracked twice.
Cracked.
He had 2 big voice cracks. The upset of the year! Now I can't get that out of my head. Upset of the year!
Your soundbite.
Soundbite. But yeah, good match. We all knew Gunther was going to win, but Ali looked pretty damn good.
It's another testament to a worker in the ring when they can make their opponent, make the audience think they have at least a chance. Brock did it for years. Anybody that got in the ring with him, you thought Brock's going to eat him up, and then there'd be that one fucking moment where you're like, damn, he got me. So that's the beauty of what Gunther can do. So, but honestly, I'm going to say, Seth, keep the world title warm for Gunther, because that's what
that's what a lot of people have been saying on Twitter. It's like, Seth's keeping the belt warm for Gunther.
That's what I think.
So. Then to Asuka Bianca.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm shocked on the outcome.
No one saw that coming.
Yeah.
Everyone expected Bianca to retain, and we got a new champion.
Yep.
Now,
that finish was it was just like Bayley and Asuka from NXT when Asuka beat her, because when she put Bayley out, the whole crowd went, that's what the entire audience did on that 3 count. No one thought that was going to be the pin. And like, whoa, and she was pissed. My God, was she fucking hot about it.
Of course, my only complaint about it is I wish this could have been at WrestleMania, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
It was kind of time for Bianca to drop the belt.
Yeah.
I figured they were gonna have Bianca and Rhea at SummerSlam have a unification match.
They could still do some unification match.
I know, but I felt like
Bianca, Asuka and Rhea?
Yeah, but that's like a heel versus
but that'd be a heel match.
Well, plus, isn't Bianca going to SmackDown?
Bianca's on SmackDown already.
But the title's women's champion. So
Rhea's on Raw with SmackDown.
The titles are
it's
still
so confusing. It's like
the titles are still 2 different brands. I'm like, so the SmackDown women's titles on Raw and the Raw women's titles on SmackDown.
Just rename them the WWE the World Women's Championship and the
Universal
Women's
else. Championship.
Or something like that. Make them non-brand specific. Or unify them.
Just unify them at this point because it's so fucking confusing.
Or eventually we're gonna have the switching of the belts.
No,
they don't want another Becky Charlotte moment again.
No,
I'm probably gonna do that.
Or maybe something like backstage, like.
But they don't because Asuka is Raw, so she's got the Raw title now. She's fine.
No,
it's all
Asuka,
about
Asuka SmackDown.
Yeah. Asuka SmackDown.
Asuka SmackDown. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the Raw Women's. So yeah, at this point, just rename the belts or just unify them.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the SmackDown Women's title, Rhea and Natalya. Now, I said this before we went on. I literally was prepping dinner during this pay-per-view because, of course, it was in the afternoon. It's like, shit, I gotta get food ready. I had these 2 bacon-wrapped filet mignons from Kroger that are like $5 each. I take the bacon off because when you take the little plastic out, it's such a pain in the ass to keep it all together. So I just take the bacon off and I put it in the oven. I had it in the oven for about 10 minutes before the entrances were done for this match. I thought this was going to go on for a little bit, so I'm like, okay, I'll be right back. Let me go flip the bacon, then come right back. I go to flip the bacon. I come back and I sit down, and I see Rhea and Dom celebrate. It's like, wait, what the hell just happened?
69 seconds.
69 seconds, people.
And of course,
69 seconds.
And of course, with
Nanny's birthday.
Yeah, and now of course with Saudi, the women have to dress a certain way. However, thankfully this happened because Mommy Rhea. That was amazing.
I felt different while watching Rhea in that suit.
Also, 2 other things. One is the way she pins her opponents.
Yes.
Yeah. She knows.
She knows. And 2, Dom jumping into her arms in Saudi Arabia.
Think
about
that.
Think about that.
I kind of said this before we started recording. If you look at that crowd, how many women do you see on that crowd? Not that many or none.
Knowing Saudi, they were probably being held hostage.
But with Dom and Rhea, they are so entertaining together. They might just turn babyface out of the fact of how entertaining they are, similar to Eddie and China.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They started out as heels. They were so entertaining that they became babyfaces.
Right. That's right.
I think Eddie and China were just a little more entertaining because the chemistry was just absolutely perfect there.
The chemistry's perfect here.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you talking about, boss? What you talking about, Willis?
I'd like to compare and contrast, please, the history of Eddie Guerrero in China along with Dom and Mommy Rhea, because I believe that if you take the wrestling of this era and the wrestling of now, you will see that there's a direct correlation between how you get this character and this character over. Thank you very much.
You know what, Scott?
Clip all that, please.
Please, somebody clip that if you're on Twitch.
Scott,
you're welcome, boss. You're welcome, boss.
But I was like, Rhea?
James, you always have to kill my mood.
Because we are the greatest podcast in the world.
And David Otunga is one of the greatest wrestling minds.
Okay, now you're really
Now
you're trying way too
it.
hard.
Next match.
Anyways, fuck
yeah,
David
there you
Otunga.
go.
Anyways, so Cody versus
No,
Brock.
thank you. I'm straight. But yes,
Really
Cody
good
Brock.
match between these two. Would you say better than Backlash?
Yeah.
Yeah, by a notch.
I like the finish. They kept Cody strong.
yes.
Yeah.
You can tell how big a marks him and Hunter are of Dusty because they're recreating the broken leg angle.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Yeah, because at least this match didn't have kind of a fluky finish.
Yeah, Brock had to go over in this one, but he wins kind of, because
kind of.
Cody doesn't.
Cody
give up.
lasted longer than anybody in the Kimura.
Right, with a broken frickin' arm.
Dayton punched Brock in his diverticulitis.
Right.
So many of those comments, too. It's like, why didn't Cody just punch him in his diverticulitis?
It's right there.
Diverticulitis.
Now, there's one little detail that bothers me to no end when they do this stuff. Whenever you see them out, when you see them out and they raise their hand up once and they call it, it's like, whatever happened to doing it 3 times? Isn't that the thing? You do it.
They changed
1,
it.
2, 3, call for the bell.
Because that was too predictable. The 3 thing is too old school, too predictable. Because 1, 2, If you do it the one time,
they changed it just once.
It makes it more important. It's like, oh shit, he's out. Right? If somebody was out, why would you drop their arm 3 times to begin with?
It's just a detail I was used to growing up.
Exactly. So it's like nowadays with MMA infiltration into pro wrestling, they're basically the same thing. It's like you're out.
Both predetermined.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. So yeah.
So yeah, Cody didn't win the match, but he also didn't lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, there was the discussion, do they need the rubber match?
No, they don't. You don't need a rubber match.
Steel cage. Steel cage. Have Money in the Bank.
Where? You need Cody it somehow to get to... Roman needs an opponent for SummerSlam. Cody in the ladder match. You don't need a rubber match with these two. The story's pretty much done at this point.
Yeah, Brock was pissed that Cody beat him. He beat Cody up.
Kind of.
Because
Cody broke Cody's arm in kayfabe. That's enough for Brock to get revenge.
And on the house shows, Cody's talking about Roman. So...
I think storyline-wise, though, there would make sense to do one more. No, it's not necessary, but storyline-wise,
Cody needs his final revenge.
Storyline-wise,
if he conquers that mountain, then he's able to. The character's confidence level gets so good and strong that he's like, now I've done everything I can do. I took on the king. I failed against the king. But the king's kingdom is crumbling around him. But I know I'm not good enough yet. If I can defeat the beast and beat the beast, that gets me the confidence I need to take on the king. So,
which
can happen. I'm not saying it will, but that's a possibility. So,
and I think from a story standpoint, that'd be better than just Cody wins the briefcase. It's like that's such an easy out.
Let me bring this up real quick, and then we'll get on to the main event, because there's a lot to talk about with the main event.
Yeah.
There was a recent interview with John Cena. I forgot who he did it with, but they talked about the match with Brock, the suplex match. John Cena and Brock Lesnar.
Oh, that was with us. That was with Austin, wasn't it?
Sam Roberts.
Sam Roberts. That's it. Thank you.
I saw that too.
Yes. So you did. So you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
So they had the discussion with. This is after Brock has beaten the streak. He's ended the streak. They got to keep that going. How do they do that? And Brock goes up to John Cena and says, I'm going to suplex you the whole match. And John said, okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
He was
Why? Because that's going to make Brock even bigger of a beast. He's going to keep that momentum going. If John just has a regular 20-minute match with him, Brock ending the streak means nothing. So if he completely decimates John Cena, the top guy in the company, makes him even bigger. So now Cody finds enough intestinal fortitude and testicular fortitude and all that stuff, fucking heart to beat Brock 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, and not with just a fancy fucking roll up from a submission. That means he is ready to take on the king and
he can just basically call out Roman.
Now,
call out Roman and break the throne.
Exactly.
Do you think possibly they could combine both of those and have both Brock and Cody in the ladder match?
No.
And have it just come down to those two?
No.
It'd be difficult. If you're going to have both of them, you gotta have really good competitors in the match.
That can play support.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, I think the Money in the Bank is for somebody to get over, just like a title. Cody's already over; he doesn't need it.
No.
So that's where I think it could go to LA Knight or
please,
LA Knight.
Next question though, how do you get back to Cody and Roman?
And that's gonna be the fun part of it. We're gonna see how we get
because
there.
One's on Raw, one's on SmackDown.
Unless either they do a trade, a tournament, or
I've always said
that's why me personally, I think you go the briefcase route.
Mm-hmm.
Because
there's always the Rumble.
Again, though.
Again.
You're gonna do that again, though.
Start them at 1 this time.
I mean, like, my spiel with this is, like I said, I feel giving Cody the briefcase is too much of an easy way out.
But sometimes an easy way out is the best way possible.
Oh yeah, you're right, James. You're absolutely
right. You're right to some degree there, but I do like Scott's logic. Like, if you do a third final match, because Cody's got to get his final revenge on Brock in the end, because the story is not done. Have them in a cage. It'd be appropriate. Brock thrives in a cage. What better way to get over on the Beast than in his own environment? Inside a steel cage, and beat him decisively, not in a fluky way, but beat him decisively. Then Cody could just have the power to just say, okay, I've conquered the Beast. Roman, it's time I conquer your kingdom. Because he kind of has that power.
Now, wait a minute. Here's my thing. You could always do the third match as Cody's first opponent for the belt. Have Cody win the briefcase, win the belt, and then have Cody just flat out say, Brock, I want you at the first possible chance.
Nobody said
you do the rubber match.
Nobody said we have to do Cody and Brock right now. That can happen down the line.
You could do the rubber match as Cody's first opponent.
Yeah.
Or
big
what
brain energy there. I like it.
Is at Money in the Bank, Cody's about to win, then Brock cost them the match.
You want to ruin you want to kill the crowd.
I think they did that.
Yeah, they already did that to Ollie. Get a life, kid.
Or what if in Money in the Bank, again, they have Cody and Brock in the steel cage. If Cody wins, he gets added to the Money in the Bank match.
You wouldn't really.
You want to turn the crowd against Cody though, because then you're really going in the kind of superhero territory.
True.
And at least for me, I feel the briefcase should go to somebody who to a new star, someone who needs it, like an LA Knight who is so over, he needs something to put him even more over the top.
Well,
better than the briefcase.
The crowd was raving at him during the press conference.
Yeah, and then the crowd at the show today, they were so loving him. Just turn the guy babyface.
I'm just gonna throw this right now. Whoever wins Money in the Bank, if Cody wins, of course it's going for Roman. If anybody besides Cody wins, they're not gonna cash in on Roman. They're gonna cash in on Seth. Because now we have 2 world champions now again. So they're gonna cash in on the easiest target, which is Seth. Which I'm not saying he's the easiest target, but compared to Roman to Seth,
he looks more beatable than Roman in terms of character.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking. Whoever wins Money in the Bank, it's not gonna cash in on Roman.
Or what they could do, instead of cashing in on Seth, they could cash it in on Gunther. So that way,
they already did that last year with Theory cashing in on Seth with the U.S. title. They're not going to waste the Money in the Bank. Like, that's why keep it simple, stupid. Have Cody win, cash in on Roman. Easy done, and sometimes simple is the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. Then again, we still have a month away, so probably in the next one we'll more or less know how they're gonna do it.
We're gonna find out more as time. Stay tuned, folks. It's gonna get good. But now
to the main event.
Let's talk about this main event.
The details. First of all, the details. First of all, Sammy's entrance. He came out to a thub. I think that's the proper pronunciation, which I was like, oh my god, he's actually going with this. Which, being that he's Hebrew, I think?
Syrian.
Muslim.
Yeah, Muslim. I was like, oh my god, they're actually gonna go through this. And then when he gets into the ring, speaks Arabic. I was like, oh my, and the crowd ate it up.
Did you see the video on, I think it was Twitter, him going to Mecca?
Visited Mecca.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mustafa Ali got to do that about a month ago, and that was wonderful to see that too. This is huge for these guys. So getting a chance in the Muslim religion, that is as high as you can go. So
I'm
good for them.
I'm willing to bet the Saudi government were seething that they saw Sammy. They're like, he ain't supposed to wear that. But we came to agreement.
But for a minute there, when Sammy's song came out, Kevin was looking and was like, "Oh my God, are they gonna say Sammy was attacked in the back? He was taking too long.
Make him wait. That's a
make him wait." And then he comes out was like, "Oh my God!"
And he was over with during the press conference.
Yeah.
Yep. We started speaking the Arabic, like you said. The whole crowd loved it. I was tearing up just to see that, because getting the chance to do that for this man who grew up in the Syrian family, a Muslim religion, all that stuff, getting to be able to do that, that's amazing.
After not being able to go there for
so many years. Yep.
So many years.
5 years.
And then, of course, and on the other side, Roman Reigns, 1,000 days, people.
You saw the 1,000 day, a lot of them in the crowd.
Yep.
1,000 days, people. We're never going to see that. We're never going to see that again.
I mean, the first time in 40 years we've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the match itself, fucking great action, great stories. Oh my God. I love how they start off like Sammy, he's like, no, I want to end with Roman. Okay.
This crowd really reminded me of Montreal. Like, this was a very, huge, big fight feel. Big fight feel. And Solo was getting in his shtick. Owens was arguably almost as over with Sammy a couple times. And I like the spot that they did where Roman gets hit with the stunner and then hits
the spear and KO almost went inside out. That was a cool
I don't know
spot.
why, but I kind of popped for that spot.
I did too.
Yeah, I popped. I was like, oh my God!
I always mark out for Roman's interaction with the audience.
Yeah,
I just always
acknowledge me.
How dare you boo me? Do you know who I am? Are you serious? What the fuck, bro? What? Really? This is my fucking house? Don't talk to me like that. You're like,
that is my
get that attitude. I love it.
Not yours.
Yep. Just the way he would interact with the people. And even when Sammy was coming out, he'd be like, it was like, oh, yes. He just,
but everything was articulately to perfection. And then, of course, the referee bump. Perfection. The referee bump, which we were like, oh shit, the Usos are gonna come out, which eventually they did.
Like, oh, they're there.
Not in the way I would have thought, coming out attacking Sammy KO, and then we get that fucking spot where they're going for the double super kick to Sammy, and they get Solo instead. It's like, oh shit, and that camera angle with Roman's face. Like, oh God, and then he's like, what the hell are you two doing? Starts shoving him, and then Jimmy, of all people, has had enough.
Jimmy!
Fucking kicks them right in the face.
Jay's reaction was like, he did it.
The pre-tape SmackDown, they were really teasing that with Roman just being an asshole to Jimmy and Jay. Because throughout the entire night, Jimmy was like, hey, I'm going to go out. And Roman says, no, you're not. You're going to stay here. Or Roman's like, what are you going to do? You're going to hit me? And Jay was trying to play peacekeeper. Not on this night. Jimmy had all that pent-up aggression and just laid out Roman.
And remember,
nobody's bitch.
This is long-term booking. At the beginning of the Bloodline, Jimmy was the one
trying to keep Jay from listening to him. Before he finally crossed over to the dark side. So, again, just everything. And, like, Jay being like, oh, shit, what's going to happen? I think we all know really where this is going to go.
Fucking teeth in.
He's eventually Jay's going to kick Roman too and just say, screw this, we're done with you. You're on your own with Solo and Paul.
Money in the Bank. There have been rumors that they're going to be doing Usos versus Roman and Solo at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's funny? Earlier, after the pay-per-view was over, me and my racing buddies who I watched the show with, like Seth and them, we went on Journey of Wrestling, and we were playing it together, booking, like, how would we book to WrestleMania 40? I highly doubt this would happen, but it would make sense for the long term. If at WrestleMania, the end of the Bloodline, Fatal 4-Way, Roman, Solo, Jimmy, and Jay. You could maybe do Hell in a Cell, because the story's so big, it would warrant being inside the cell. And if I were in charge of booking that match, Solo goes over to establish Solo as your next top guy, because Solo's got what it takes, no doubt, to be on that echelon.
Because I think at some point Roman's going to push Solo, where Solo's going to be like, fuck this.
Yeah.
They're my brothers.
And also that you said Hell in a Cell too. Sorry, I cut you off, Ricky, but
you're good.
When you say Hell in a Cell, that's kind of where the Bloodline really formed.
Was in the I Quit Cell match with Roman and Jay, and Roman trying to choke out Jimmy, and then Jay finally says, "Okay, I quit."
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and ended with where it began.
I do believe the minute Solo betrays Roman, that's the end. Yeah, it's the end.
Roman's all on his own. He's got no one else.
And to the point, even Paul starts to doubt Roman. That's when it's gonna really be fun.
And then Roman's gonna try to push Paul around, and then Paul's gonna be like, Paul's just gonna throw the belts and say, "You're on your own."
You're on your own, pal.
Yeah.
Well, Paul's gonna slip up. He's gonna have like one said word, and that's Roman's gonna catch it and be like, and then Paul is gonna completely lose.
And not to mention,
Roman's going to leave Paul. If Paul leaves Roman, nobody cares. Roman's going to leave Paul behind like, fuck you. You were done with you. I'm done with you now.
And not to mention, we still have King and Queen of the Ring coming up in the near future.
If they're still doing that.
If they're going to do it.
I doubt they're going to now.
Not this year.
Well, if they are doing it some point in this year, they could tie it up to that too.
Because it was supposed to be this show, King and Queen of the Ring, but they
changed it because of the
maybe the next there'll be another Saudi show this year. So
at the end of the year,
if that means anything, then I'm just saying possibly, but
probably.
But regardless, so we're going to see that, or we're going to see Roman try to go 180 and go totally benevolent with his family and try to get them all to come back, and maybe showing weakness, which is going to make them go, the fuck?
Like,
no.
You fucking pussy.
You fucking puss. So, and then they're going to scatter out after that. So,
I don't know. I mean, if the point leads to SummerSlam, where Roman loses the title, then you can probably milk the Bloodline storyline a bit further. It depends on SummerSlam. I guess.
Well, also, I do think Roman taking time off for a few months. I'd say a next best scenario would be for Survivor Series War Games. You could do like Roman, Solo, and like 2 or 3 other heels against Usos, Sami KO, and maybe one other babyface if it's 5-on-5, something like that. And you know what's funny? When me and my friends booked this, we did this for a booking. We did the Uso, Sami KO, and Cody versus Roman, Solo, and Judgment Day. And how we ended up booking it was Roman, Solo, and the Judgment Day win because of help from a new Judgment Day member to get the Judgment Day over.
And
I doubt that would happen, but I do think, speaking of the Judgment Day, I do see here in the near future JD McDonough is going to join.
Yeah,
I think that's happening.
Ever since he came to Raw, like there was a thing where McDonough
he beat the shit out of Dolph Ziggler,
and then Finn was just looking over him in the parking lot while McDonough was going.
And plus the initials JD, Judgment Day.
Tie-in,
and JD was trained by Finn Balor. So
I mean, there's so much momentum on Judgment Day right now. It's incredible.
There is now,
but this just opens up
so much.
Another piece of the puzzle to this big and I mean huge storyline. Which, oh god.
So tomorrow, there's a pay-per-view, but there's also NXT Battleground happening.
Yeah,
There's
let's
two
take a look.
pay-per-views going at the same time.
First time since Mania 5
Mania
and Clash
5.
6 that we've had two major companies going head-to-head on the
Oh
same
god.
day.
Let's go with NXT and then we'll talk about AEW. Let's
Yeah,
go with the
so
NXT
we got
stuff
for
first.
Battleground, we got tag title match, Gallus versus Creed Brothers.
Gallus.
Gallus.
I think it's time for the Creed Brothers to get. I think Gallus might be main roster ready.
Excuse me.
You could have said that about the Creeds as well too, but I feel like they should stick in NXT for maybe a
Just a
couple more
little
months
bit
and then call them
longer.
up.
Yeah, and I think
Pair him with Braun.
Yeah,
Creed
Reverse
and Breaker.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because the Creeds, they're fucking over with that crowd. Like
Yeah.
they really turn my head 360 because I'm like, they're okay, but like, holy shit, they really are.
You know what would be a really cool program? Creed Brothers Alpha Academy.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be an entertaining
fun.
program right there. British rounds rules for the Heritage Cup. Noam Dar, Dragon Lee.
I'm shocked they even brought
Dragon
that
Lee.
fucking thing back.
I know.
I know, me too. I'm surprised too.
But I think
Dragon Lee.
Dragon Lee is gonna get it.
I forgot that was completely a thing.
I forgot Noam Dar was even still in the company.
Same.
Yeah.
Dragon Lee, I guess.
Because he's got momentum. Why not capitalize on it a bit with this match? The tournament final for the vacant women's title with Lyra Valkyria and Tiffany Stratton.
Stratton. It's Stratton's time.
Stratton.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's hot right now, so yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Hot in
And
more
she's on
ways
a
than
roll.
one.
In more ways than one.
That's
Okay, anyways, triple threat for the North American title. Wesley, Tyler Bate, Joe Gacy.
Wesley.
Keep it on
Wesley.
Wesley.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
doesn't need
keep
to
it.
but still.
Yeah.
Now,
Not
this
yet.
next match, I would actually look forward to more than any other. Ilya Dragunov, Dijak, last man standing match. That's gonna be
Dragunov.
awesome.
They're
And I
gonna
got
love
Dragunov.
some potatoes
Dragunov.
into each other.
Oh yes.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is gonna be brutal.
Hopefully
But yeah, I'm going Dragunov.
Hopefully no one
Dragunov.
breaks their middle finger in this match. Like
Yeah, just don't break your
Oh.
finger, Dijak. Jeez. And then finally,
give it to Dragunov because Dragunov is on a roll. And
he's
Why
bound.
is
He's going to be
Dragunov
bound to
here?
the main roster here in a few months, anyways.
I've heard rumors that Dragunov might be the fourth member of Imperium.
Yeah.
I've seen
I don't
that.
think so. I mean, with
But
the
no
history
way.
with
Dragunov
Gunther-
and Gunther, that's a program.
That's the program
That's
for
nice. Title
when
program.
Gunther breaks Honky Tonk's record. Dragunov be the one to take it from him.
Or hell, why not Gunther and Dragunov at the Rumble?
If you keep the belt on Gunther that long,
Or at the Rumble match. Bid them both number one, number two, and let them fucking beat each other throughout the entire Rumble.
potato the shit out of each other.
I mean, why not? If Sheamus and Gunther did it, why not Dragunov and Gunther can do it?
By the way, Dragunov and Gunther have not worked since Gunther has gotten great shape.
Mm-hmm.
So
Just
yeah.
imagine the quality now.
Oh god. Potato.
People might actually have cardiac arrest during the match.
Probably.
I think Gunther's chops have become more deadly since he's
Yeah,
been
they
in ring
have.
banner shape.
They have.
It's
Ask
not
Sheamus for God's sake.
Yeah, and Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Carmella Hayes, Braun Breaker, Carmella.
Hayes.
Carmelo.
Yeah. Braun's coming to the main roster soon.
I think Steiner's gonna get called up. It's weird too. They're kind of giving him like a Goldberg-like run, like he's just beating everyone in his path, but it's like.
But as a
proper
heel.
Goldberg in
Yeah.
some ways.
Well, that's one of Braun's influences.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where he gets finished from.
Well,
Yep.
except he has to smash his hand through a window and breaking his hand, and he almost did it to the
True.
crowd.
Yeah, cause Sean's there and Sean knows this shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's keeping one eye on the talent,
Taking
the other
care
on
of the kid.
Yeah. Unlike
Um,
Bischoff.
Oh.
You know,
Well, yeah. But anyways,
Now
and
let's
then,
go to the
now
other
let's
punt.
go to
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing. So,
Which
Man,
I think even the most diehard AEW fans would say this is the least hyped card probably in forever.
Yeah.
There-
you look at this card.
There's nothing
name a match
intriguing.
that
Oh,
really-
and before we go with Double or Nothing, it's been confirmed. Collision, it's gonna be in Chicago.
Yeah, so
Luke is
we
gonna be
know.
on it.
So,
We
Luke is
know.
gonna
We
be
know.
on it now, so
Are you? Is
Yep.
everyone happy now? Punk's
No.
probably gonna be back, and it's all gonna be back to normal.
yeah, sure.
Rumors that Punk's supposed to be coming tomorrow, which I'm like, and where are you gonna put Punk in the fucking after the Four Pillars match?
Probably they'll probably redo MJF's return, but with Punk.
Yeah,
They'll do a fake phone call. They'll do some sort of use one of his Ring of Honor speeches and then
Because-
cult of personality.
because honestly, I don't know how many tickets they have sold for Double or Nothing. Must be
They're giving
not-
away free tickets.
With a free burger and soda. What are we, the New York Giants from last year?
You know that AEW is fucked up when they resort to that.
But see, the thing, they've played out Vegas. They need to move Double or Nothing to another city. They need to move a lot of these
Yeah.
places to other cities.
Like, I don't
Because
know,
you're letting
move it.
the well run dry.
Bring
and at
it to
some
San
point-
Antonio. Double or Nothing in San Antonio. You're gonna get a lot of fits into Texas. Trust me. I know, people. I know.
You
Wait,
go to
I
a city,
think
you go to
Vegas is
places where there haven't been, the crowd's great. Why? They haven't been there.
Right.
Like,
That's why they
Vegas-
sold 70,000 seats in England.
Like, Vegas
Yeah.
has a really good, aesthetic and atmosphere, but you can only run on that Pony Express before the freaking wheels come off. And speaking of the wheels, what the fuck has this company done to hype up this show? Look at the entire card and name one match that will stick out.
well, let's take a look at this card. So, the
Let's
pre-show, you got Ethan Page and the Guns versus the Hardys and Hook. And if the Hardys and Hook win, Matt Hardy will own Ethan Page's contract, which,
All I'm
Yeah,
gonna
okay.
say is thank God this is
Don't
on the
care.
pre-show.
Mhm.
Yeah, remember when everyone was comparing Hook to Goldberg?
Yeah, he's another guy that fell off that had something of an somewhat of an appeal, but not anymore because he went cold.
Hook is more of a special attraction. That's all he is. And the FTW title, that's nothing but a prop.
It's not even a special attraction. Tony just like gets these guys out there. Great, we got you over. Now it's up to you to stay over. Wait, what?
Oh, we're not going to feature you for months.
I don't fucking know what to do with that.
To the point that I don't know if it was in AEW this past week or I saw a video. Remember the guy who had the wrestler who portrayed Michael Jackson in the Indies?
Yes. Yes.
He was in AEW for a brief second.
but
Mhm.
anyways, so open house.
So was the guy who flipped pizzas.
Open house 6-man tag for the trios style House of Black versus mystery opponents.
House of
cares?
Black.
Yeah.
House of Black.
Whatever, who
Okay,
cares?
if it's not the Acclaimed, what the fuck are we doing here? Because if you guys did not notice, a few weeks ago, the Acclaimed won a battle royal to determine who would challenge the House of Black for the trios titles. Have they had one interaction with the House of Black at all? No. They've been featured in other random ass matches like this past week on Dynamite. They took on the great trio of Grand Metalik, okay, Blake Christian, and AR Fox. Wow, way to build up that trios division there.
Trios belt just doesn't need to exist.
No, not even in AAA. It was
Torch
useful.
Disease can build a better company than this.
WCW had a better 6-man tag division.
And
Herb Abrams Ghost can create something better than this shit.
Zach, where are you?
No,
Where are you?
don't you mean Herb Abrams' Ghost?
Yes, Herb Abrams goes. We need you back.
Anyways, fucking
House of
whatever.
Black.
House of Black, whatever.
House of
TBS
Black.
title match, Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie.
Cargill.
Yeah, wait
Cargill.
because like a couple weeks ago, they had a stipulation where Tayo couldn't use the Roda Valhalla, which is the exact same move that Jade uses. Where's the stipulation at here? Continuity wrestling color me shocked.
Anarchy in the arena match, Blackpool Combat Club, and the Elite.
Fucking sodomize me with a rusting
They're gonna
carving
get-
knife.
No, thank you.
They're
but
gonna
still,
give it-
why?
They're gonna give it to the Elite because if with the whole bit thing with Punk, they're gonna build
This
it
match
up.
is
You think you're going to
terrible.
ruin the momentum of the Blackpool Combat Club?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a
but does-
double-edged
but
sword.
does- But does Tony care about momentum anymore?
No, he doesn't.
No.
Yeah. Hey,
Because
guys
bring up the
remember-
TNT title match next.
Yeah,
Wardlow, and Christian.
Yeah, remember a year ago when Wardlow was the most red-hot babyface they had? when he
Yeah.
fucking squashed MJF?
I
Yep.
want to go back.
He's as cold as a corpse.
We were
I wanna
talking
go
about how they were going to
back-
try to steal him in WWE, and now, no more.
He was the next Dave Batista, and now I wouldn't give two shits at a popsicle if he came over to WWE.
Wouldn't piss on him if he was on fire.
Was it a chocolate popsicle?
Mm.
I
With
want to go back
yogurt.
to Danielson really quick though.
Why?
Remember back in February or March at Revolution when he was in a
No.
really red hot feud with
No.
MJF?
No.
And Konosuke Takeshita was involved in the feud. Yeah,
No.
where's he at, by the way?
No.
Moving
on.
got no sell.
No.
I don't
Got no
know.
sell.
But yeah, look at Danielson now. He's feuding with the Elite. Congratulations. And yeah, back with Wardlow. Yeah, he's colder than a witch's tit at this point.
That's
Like,
right.
No one cares. They're gonna
And it's
call
not
him
Wardlow's
Wardlow.
fault.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
People, it's not that we're not excited for AEW. It's just the fucking booking, people. Tony Khan, get your
Keep going
fucking-
on with the card.
Keep going.
Yeah, keep
Keep
going.
going.
So, 21-man battle royal for the
Oh,
international
Jesus
championship.
Christ.
Another belt that doesn't need to exist.
Who the fuck is in this match?
I could just have
Ah.
Orange Cassidy retain it. Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
Next.
Where the hell am I? My eyes are wandering everywhere because of this garbage. Tag title match, FTR, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Give it
ladies and
to Lee Jarrett and Lethal. Give
Put
it
it
to
on Jarrett Lethal. I don't care. Put it on
Yes.
Jarrett Lethal.
Yes.
Do it.
Yeah.
Great,
Eh.
great way to
Fucking
utilize.
do it.
Mark
Karen
Hunt's
Jarrett
skill,
posed
by
with
the
both
way.
belts Molina style.
Oh,
Yep.
Jesus
Yep.
Christ.
Oh god.
Yes.
I love it.
This is gonna be the one time where I will disagree with being over the top because fuck Karen Jarrett anyways, FTR.
You would. Yes, you would. Next.
I wanna
That's
put my
all
dick
Karen
in her
Jarrett's
ear.
good for is the booty. And it's not even that good of a booty either. Hell, Brie Larson's booty's better than hers. And she has none. And I hate Brie Larson. Anyways,
I
moving
want
on.
to stick my
Karen's a myth.
I want to stick my dick in her like a pole.
She would fuck you
Anyways,
with Boston Dick and you pushing.
Adam Cole, Chris Jericho. Now, if there was any match I would want to see, it would be this. Because on paper, this does sound like it would be good.
Yeah, on paper it sounds great. It's probably going to suck.
Yeah, it is.
Probably.
Because
And isn't
Because
it
Sabu's in
unsanctioned?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's on
it's gonna be the last match of the night, right?
Right?
Probably.
Right?
Because
Right.
all the other unsanctioned matches have.
Oh, because Tony Khan likes 90s wrestling.
Mm.
Get it? We get it, Khan. You're stuck in the 90s. We get it.
And Sabu? Sabu.
As the
Don't get
enforcer.
me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
Sabu.
Sabu's a crazy motherfucker.
Why?
But why would you have Sabu?
They won't let Hulk Hogan in AEW, but they'll let Sabu with what he said.
Yeah, especially with JR.
And
By
Renee.
the way, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I
I wonder what Moxley thought of Sabu's comments about his wife.
Yeah.
You know what?
Renee Young.
You know what, Tony Khan? Give me a Moxie Sabu match. Let them beat the living crap out of each other. That's how you're gonna get money.
And Moxley would probably kill Sabu. But anyways.
And by the way, this Like Jericho and Roderick Strong had a match, a Falls Count Anywhere match, where the crowd kept getting in the way. And okay, Adam Cole is banned from ringside during this match, along with the Jazzhole Society. And yet he attacks Jericho outside of the building, and Jericho gets pinned on a flower bed.
Because Adam Cole was banned from the arena, so he attacks him outside the arena.
Yeah.
It was ringside, but
anyways, yeah, Adam Cole, whatever.
Yeah.
And then this quote 4 pillars match where there's only one real pillar in this match, and that's the champ.
Could be an elimination match.
Yeah, you could have done that, but no.
Well, they won't.
No.
Honestly, at this point, I'm more interested in an MJF Sting match.
Yeah.
Do that.
We have given no reason to care. Like, the logical fans, aka us, we do not care about the 4-way, which sucks.
That right there, what Boss just said, is the primary issue with AEW. Say it again, Boss, what you just said.
Us logic fans that have common sense, that know what's bullshit and what isn't. We aren't sucking off AEW. We know what's bad. We know what's good. We talked about this with ECW. We do the same with WWE. We do with every single wrestling promotion. The wrestling fans of AEW are going to beat into our fucking skull, and to the point we're going to be looking like Hammer Smash Face from Cannibal Corpse, that everything's perfect in AEW. No, it is not. This product has been ass. Not the good kind of ass either.
But the actual words I was looking for is they're not giving you a reason to care
about this match.
And honestly, the pay-per-view buys are going to reflect it.
Yep.
Because again, there's a lot of diehards who don't really give a shit about this card.
It's because we don't have a reason to.
Right.
We're going to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks.
They're caring more about Collision in a month. Actually a few weeks now. They're caring more about Wembley at the end of August.
Again, they're worried about the future.
Forbidden Door next month.
Which, by the way, there's going to be several people that won't be a part of it due to AAA ties or something like that.
Because New Japan works with CMLL.
Yeah, so there's going to be, I think the Lucha Brothers aren't going to be a part of it. I don't think Roosh is being a part of it.
Basically, all of the Spanish wrestlers in AAA cannot compete, but all of the white wrestlers that work in AAA, they're allowed.
Here we go, World Order. Here we go. GWO coming at you, folks.
That's when you look at who can and who can't, it's like, yeah. I mean, you can't tiptoe around that.
Tony, what are you trying to say here?
Tony can't really expose his ass with the whole Big Swole situation, but that's
Tony.
We have diversity in our company, and yet here's Soraya saying that she wants her piece of shit boyfriend Ronnie Radke, who has a long list of just a swell individual of criminal charges, racist and homophobic comments.
He can jump off the Empire State Building and land on his head.
And also is part of a shitty band anyways.
There you go.
I'm sorry, Saraya, but fucking you have terrible taste in men, I swear.
Tony, don't make me bring the chancla.
She dates Warped Tour musicians and fucking assaulters like Del Rio.
Yep.
And also, not to mention, she was shitting on WWE as well. And also, I kind of want to segue this really quick. So Thunder Rosa came out on her Instagram that she has been having suicidal thoughts ever since her back injury. Yeah, really good leading the women's division there, Britt.
Yeah.
And Paige. Jesus Christ. No wonder the women's division's in the fucking toilet at this point.
Why hasn't Thunder Rosa just given her notice?
Yeah.
And who could blame her?
Who could blame her?
If I was in that situation, I'd be like, you know what? Fuck this. I ain't coming back.
Call
Guess
Paul
what?
and get a job at NXT.
Guess what? I'm an independent contractor. You're gonna release me, or I'm gonna sue my way out.
I'm gonna sue your ass.
Yeah, because that's bullshit. Thunder Rosa is one of the best women in your, if not the best women in your entire company, and yet you're making her depressed. And what are you doing, Tony?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
What? I'll say it in the language of my people. Tony Khan, tú no estás haciendo nada para proteger a los luchadores, especialmente a Thunder Rosa, que tuvo pensamientos suicidios y le estás cagando la mierda. Si el día de mañana algo le pasa a Thunder Rosa, todos nosotros mexicanos vamos a ir por ti y te vamos a partir la madre. ¿Me entendiste, Tony Khan? ¿Entendido? ¿Ok? ¿Ok?
See?
What he said was, Jinder fucking Mahal is the greatest WWE champion of all time.
I think that Eddie Guerrero is overrated? Question mark?
Jinder fucking Mahal!
We had to get that one in to break this monotony up. But anyway, that's pretty much all the AEW ranting out of the way. So I think it's time to wrap things up in a nice bow.
Yes.
Oh my lord.
Oh god.
Because what can we do after that? Nothing.
I was trying to be serious here, and then you bring up Jinder motherfucking Mahal.
I think he wanted to say he wanted to beat up Tony with the chancla.
Yes.
That too, yes.
Oh yeah.
Where is the chancla, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I got a big ass shoe.
There you go.
It works just as well.
She'll shut us.
It leaves just as big of a red mark.
I mean,
Yes.
Ricky, I respect the confidence in whatever the fuck you just said, but I respect it.
Dude, Ricky versus Tony in a fight, I choose Ricky.
Yes.
Me too.
I think all of us in a fight would take Tony.
Let's
be real.
Brawl for all. Us against Tony.
Yes.
I'll just do a promo battle with Tony. Let's see how that goes.
For me, just give me two weapons. Give me a belt, give me a chancla, give me my fucking fist. That's it.
And your vest. Don't forget the vest.
Oh yeah, and my vest.
What are
I'll
the
go
battle
all medieval on his ass. I'll go fucking.
Or just put me on top of a cage with Tony and I'll toss his ass off
So
the table.
this is the invitation is open, Tony. You come on Shadow Kvlt, and we're gonna knock you out.
Exactly.
And
then after that, we'll
Allegedly.
teach you how to book a wrestling company.
Okay.
He doesn't sue.
Hey, don't watch if you think he's gonna show up, because he's not gonna.
He's not gonna.
But
doesn't have
the
balls.
invitation is open.
And
We'll
also,
be
you get to
waiting for you,
choose.
Tony, and we're gonna knock you out.
and
you get to
Ricky-
choose.
And also, Ricky will have a lot of pictures of Nikita Lyons supporting him in the background.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
He'll get an AI Nikita voice going, Ricky.
Yes, use the Lachamba.
And I'll make it easier for you, Tony Khan. You get to choose who is gonna be first in kicking your ass. Let's make it easier.
Out of the
for him.
5 of us, who do you want to have kick your ass first? Please
Because
pick
remember, you got a rage Mexican, a former wrestler, a badass Ohioan, a knowledgeable wrestling guy who can put you in every single hold, and a youngster who has the fucking energy of a fucking tiger who can rip your motherfucking ass.
me.
He looks like Hamilton Porter or Ed Sheeran's fat cousin.
So remember, Tony Khan, these are your options. Choose wisely.
Oh, shit.
I have 1,005 holds that I know. Arm bar, arm drag.
Handle family credenza.
I was in
Armbar.
I was a prime white belt in Taekwondo. I can whip anyone's ass.
There you go. I want James and Tony Khan hardcore bowling match.
And hell, just to go to show you,
ball.
and just to go to show Tony, you could punch me in the jaw and it ain't gonna hurt. I'll just be like, and then you're punished. And also, good luck trying to take me down. If 10 guys in a football game couldn't take me down, what the fuck makes you think you're gonna be able to?
Hell yeah.
So there you go. But anyways, we got that out of the way.
Anyways,
let's get
to
to what's coming up.
and
in
only
June,
put
so,
over what is active, please.
yes. So
this is my dead AOL account.
Exactly. But anyway,
MySpace.
there's a reason
This
why
is
I
my
don't bring up Twitter,
CompuServe
because I
app.
don't use it anymore unless it's messaging these guys. But anyway, so what's coming up in June? Well, next week we're going to be doing Cards Against Humanity.
Time
for
to
game
get
night.
disgusting. Woo!
Time to get absolutely
Even more disgusting.
Let's get disgusting and offensive and not give a shit. Maybe not all.
Don't we do that already?
Yeah, pretty much. We do that already. That's kind of our thing at this point.
Yeah.
But then the week after that,
Russian
we're going to
sickle.
be. God,
we
we were doing so good. We were doing so good, and you, I hate you the most.
Really? After the bullshit I caused last week on Enforcement and Shadow Kvlt? Really?
No, I take that back. I hate you the most. I'm kidding, but anyways. But anyway, so then the week after that, we begin a little bit of King of the Ring month. We're going to be talking for the 30th anniversary, King of the Ring 1993. The week after that, we're going to do a Friday night episode of Shadow Kvlt, where we're going to be doing the top 10 worst gimmick matches in wrestling history. And the reason why...
Already got my list.
And the reason why we're doing it Friday night is because Saturday night on the 17th, I, yours truly, will be going to my first wrestling show in 6 years to a house show, super show in Cincinnati. Where Roman's advertised to be there, which I could see him doing the super show house shows, not brand exclusives. So it would make sense.
Remember to acknowledge him.
Yes.
And then the final week of June, when we're on here, King of the Ring 1998 with that match. So
that match.
Yeah.
Stone Cold
did it.
versus Kane, the first blood match?
Yes.
Yeah.
That one too.
Yeah.
And the time Mick Foley almost fucking died.
And The Rock's worst match.
No, Foley.
Oh, yeah.
Foley did die. He just got resurrected somehow.
Oh,
He has
yeah.
a game genie. He has a game genie inserted in his ass.
Dude, Ricky, I just saw something fly out of your mouth. It looked like a tooth. It looked like a tooth flew out of your mouth. Are you okay?
PSA, brush your teeth.
Hey, Ricky, hopefully that tooth doesn't get inserted into your nose afterwards.
Oh, God.
Oh, God.
What a tie-in there. All right, but that's all for June.
Did I use those thumbtacks?
I don't know.
You know, they're sticking out of your arm, Mick.
They're sticking out of your ass.
I got
Cactus, please get on the stretcher. Please get on it. Come on, Cactus.
But that's all for June. We'll have our July schedule made pretty damn soon. But now it's plug time, starting things off with The Boss.
You can subscribe to me to my YouTube channel at BossLP6 for review of Raw, SmackDown, AEW Dynamite reviews alongside with other wrestling reviews and predictions. Now, oh boy, on the other side, on the metal side of things, I was quite a busy beaver when it comes to listening to a lot of good stuff. So, Friday, I listened to the newest Immortal album, War Against All. Really damn good album. Not as great as Northern Chaos Gods, but as a follow-up to it, really damn good and feel very epic. So if you like your cold, atmospheric black metal with a more epic veneer, recommend it. But the album after that I listened to was the newest Vomitory album. All heads are gonna roll, as I came to. Some heads are gonna roll, but I digress. If you like kind of like a Swedish Cannibal Corpse with some bloodbath in there, you'll dig the album.
A lot of Vader.
And Vader, too. There were some thrashy moments on there. Really dig the album. But earlier today, I reviewed the newest Metal Church album, Congregation of Annihilation, The Proclamation of the United States of America. No, it's just Congregation of Annihilation. But really damn good album. Really, really, really love it. There's some Megadeth, a little bit of Overkill, especially Metallica vibes, but really damn good heavy metal with some little bit of prog and a little bit of thrash in there as well. And I'm not actually going to plug in my Twitter because what the fuck is it anymore? It's dead. So, moving on.
Ricky,
Follow me on my Instagram at Arcarawan Meroga, where you can kind of see the things behind the scenes between my live and my CD collections and all that. You know, the usual stuff. Just if you haven't followed me, follow me. I'm at close to almost 1,030 subscribers, almost there. I mean, it would be kind of cool to reach 1,010 by the end of the year, but hopefully we can reach that in the future. Follow me on my YouTube channel, Horror Master, which yesterday actually today I uploaded the latest episode of my controversial album series with Nirvana Nevermind, which for some reason the comments got blocked. And I was like, oh, I know why. Just to watch the video to find out. Eventually I'm gonna bring a CD collection update the next week or so. I'm gonna try to bring back the rankings, and I'm been thinking of the band I'm gonna do, and I think I'm gonna do it on Cattle Decapitation, since I've been listening to Cattle a lot lately. You know, so stay tuned for that. And you can catch me on Levi's channel doing both the Shadow Kvlt and Horseman podcast.
Scott.
Find me on my YouTube channel. It's Mr. Scott doing reactions on there. And I recently had our friend Walter Ball on my channel as I let him do his ranking of all the Kiss albums, all studio albums of Kiss. So that was a fun discussion. I hope to do more on those in future. Maybe I can get some of these guys on there sometime to come on in with me and have a little fun. You can also find me doing reactions on there too. There'll be more coming out this week. Also find me on Twitch playing music on there. If I do a jam session where I'm just playing bass to drum tracks, you're going to see those VOD. If I'm doing songs, you will see those only one and done. You got to be there live for them because I'm not dealing with DMCA bullshit. So they get eliminated pretty quickly. Find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All under It's Mr. Scott as well. And find me my TeePublic merch store as well. Buy some cool merchandise. Represent your favorite middle-aged metalhead. Horns high.
James.
You can subscribe to my YouTube at We Are Pro Wrestling. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My Twitter is at WAPW_wrestling. My Twitter is We Are Pro Wrestling _YT. On both Instagram and Twitter tomorrow, I'm going to be posting my schedule for the summer of 2023 that I'm going to be doing 13 episodes through June, July, and August, which includes my 250th episode, first week of July. So follow me on Twitter and Instagram to find out what the hell I'm going to be talking about throughout the next 3 months.
And then finally, if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel, ThrashManiac99, where currently I am running a giveaway. I did a video back on, I want to say Thursday? Yeah, Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
Yeah, I posted an announcement video that once I get to 4,000 subscribers, which I'm a little over 300 away from, once I get to 4,000, this stack of CDs will be yours, which includes Asphyx, On the Wings of Inferno, Asphyx Self-Titled, Vader, Necropolis, Dark Throne, Old Star, Metallica and Justice for All, and Carcass Heartwork. So, all you gotta do is just go to that video, which, just check it out. It was a couple days ago. It's called 4,000 Subscriber CD Giveaway Announcement. All you gotta do to enter is just leave a comment in that video, and then and it will be plugged on every video going forward until that day comes where the 4,000 subscribers have been hit. And then once those 4,000 subscribers have hit, I will put all the names from the comments into a randomizer, pick the winner that way, and whoever wins, these will be yours. So that's going on for a little while. I also did my reviews for Immortal this morning. Tomorrow morning's my Vomitory review. Of course, under the radar, probably going to do 2 episodes this week because there were 6 other albums I've got to check out. Metal Church being one of them, so gonna be busy for the next couple of days. And then, of course, I got a CD collection update video coming out soon, so be on the lookout for that. But that's all on the YouTube side. Follow me on Instagram at ThrashManiac_YT, and then finally, follow and or subscribe to Twitch, ThrashManiac99 over there, where I go live sometimes on Mondays for Minecraft, all the time on Wednesdays for God knows what. And of course, this. And then one final announcement. This Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, Horseman Podcast back for another episode. We got James McBain from Hellripper back, where we're going to be talking about the new album and top 10 first wave / proto black metal albums from 1981 to 1991. But until then, everybody...
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm not sure if I'll be able to join that, because I'm probably going to be busy.
That's fine. Just send your list. I mean, we'll ask the rest of the horsemen if they can, just to send their list, too.
Yep. But with all that said, we'll see
Mm-hmm.
you guys next week for Cards Against Humanity, where we're evidently going to piss ourselves laughing. But importantly, keep your horns high and your dreams wet. You bunch of jackasses.
Get a life, kid.